haunting since time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creepy floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the wrong side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. The icy air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. All's rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side.
Here I am talking away like a stupid fool, and it was on mute. Thank you, Cass. But let me redo that. Let's see. Glad everybody could be here to join us. And like I said, we have the famous Kenny Biddle and the famous Friday House James here with us tonight to discuss the electrical side of the paranormal. So hopefully they can clear up some of the questions that everybody has. So please don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to get it out there. So we're all going to learn a lot, I think, from this show. So let me say a quick hello to everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me now. Hi, Pinky. Hello, darling. And there's Sandra and Sean at Wandering Munchie. Nice to see you. Hi, Sage. Hi, Mystic. Let's see. Sherry's with us, and Dragon Ranger. Hello, Dragon Ranger. Dragon Ranger was first. You get the cookie. There's Miss Susan and Jody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. If I missed anybody, just, give me a shout out and I will say hello. Pomp is here. Pomp made a comment about even just because of the thumbnail, he thinks the show was beyond him. No, this is your chance to get those questions out, to understand all of this stuff that majority of us, if we're not into it, we're not going to understand it. And that's why I wanted to have these guys on. So, hey, there's Mr. Joe Vitale. Hello, sir. And without further ado, let's bring the guys on board and let's get the show rolling and the questions out there. There's Mr. Kenny and there's Mr. James. Hi, guys. How are you?
What's up?
Yeah, going.
I was honestly, you started the show and I was like, oh shit, my speakers went out.
Oh yeah. See, and I hit it on mute, so
And I'm going through like checking the settings and like, what's going on?
that's
Checking
that's
this
usually
wire over here.
yeah. Start shaking stuff,
Yeah,
the emergency repair procedure, kick it if it doesn't work,
yeah, use a hammer.
that kind of stuff. So I am so honored you guys to come hang out with us tonight and explain and explore the electrical side of paranormal research. I don't think we touch enough base on that. A lot of people are in the dark about it. And I questioned it. Hello, Marie. Hello, welcome. I put it out there as electrical DNA. Now we all know that DNA has to do with biological forms, living, forms. But it was just like the quickest way to put it out there as an electrical trace or residue. And I would like to have you guys explain how electricity works and how we can connect it to the paranormal field, how the equipment has a part in it as well. But the main question is, do you think when we pass on and become energy, can a spirit leave behind some kind of an electrical residue or trace?
That really can't be answered.
Ooh. It's great. I'm just going to sit back and let him answer. You made my job easy tonight.
Show's over, guys. Thanks for showing up.
Well, I mean, we're not even sure how the conscious mind actually works in the brain. If it's a part of the brain, if it's not part of the brain, they really haven't nailed that down. Psychologists haven't. Brain surgeons haven't. Biologists, they haven't. I mean, they study the brain all the time, but we really don't know what consciousness is. So when we pass on, what's actually passing on?
Right. Now, see, I'm going off of the belief that most people have pretty much that I've spoken to, that they believe that the body, when you pass on from the physical body, you turn into pure energy. So we're an energy source of some sort. That is the belief I think that most people are going on when they do a paranormal investigation.
When you're talking about energy, in physics, energy is a property of matter. It's not really its own thing. Mass is potential energy, mostly kinetic. Like if you if you have something that has mass, anything that has mass, and you drop it, well, that mass just got converted into kinetic energy as it fell. So whenever it landed, it struck the desk. It made noise. It transferred that energy across the air and the desk, and it just went on till it dissipated. So energy isn't really its own thing. It's a property of something else as far as physics is concerned.
Right. Energy in the paranormal community is a buzzword, and I'm sure this is going to upset some people, but it's based on pure belief. It is not something that is recognized by science. It is used as a placeholder for coming up with some kind of explanation that sounds good, that articulates a belief. And that is not how that we know it works. So when the body dies, yes, what happens to us when we die? There's an entire process. We are converted into food for other organisms. We dissipate the heat into the atmosphere. There's a lot of things that happen, and these are different kinds of energy. There's chemical and potential energy as a food source. There's the radiation, the heat energy that's coming off of our bodies that we generate that dissipates into the atmosphere, and some other processes. The idea or the belief that people become pure energy is strictly a belief. There is no science that backs that up.
Right.
So if that's what people want to believe in, and when they go into an investigation or ghost hunt, I mean, there's a big difference there. But if they go into it with that belief, unfortunately, they're going into it wrong. And they're going to come out with results that they're looking for, because that's what they're looking for. They're not actually looking for data coming from a controlled environment, which we'll probably get into later in the show as we talk about this kind of stuff. So good answer, James.
Yeah, good answer, both of you. It's wonderful because, like I said, a lot of people are confused, and again, they're going on the belief that we transform into an energy source of some sort. So that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted to know if even like with the equipment that we have out. And I also want you guys to explain to everybody, how electricity works. The electronic, the EMF meters, we know the stuff that they have out there is just crap. But is there a way that we can develop such equipment that will pick up certain traces or ways to connect with the so-called energy?
Well, first you have to know what energy it would be providing, because most everything that you're ever going to get that is ghost hunting equipment only picks up some part of the electromagnetic field, and it depends on the frequency, but they all work on pretty much the same thing, and it's just how electronics work. In a nutshell, electrons and general relativity. So if you go out there with some EMF meter trying to pick up some kind of energy, well, what kind of energy are you trying to pick up? You're only going to pick up one kind. So what kind of energy would a spirit be putting out there? Because even as humans, we generate heat. That's infrared energy. Again, that's electromagnetic energy coming from us. We can detect that, but what would a spirit? I mean, what are they even made of?
Right.
I think that's the big thing. Like, there's a lot of you asked one question, but there's a lot of elements to that question, and James is right. I mean, there's a lot. You have to know the qualities of what you're measuring in order to measure it. So, like, we know the qualities of like my desk. I know the material it's made out of. I can weigh it. I know the density of the material, so we can weigh it, measure it. We can see if it's conductive or not, which it's not. And these are qualities that you need to know. When it comes to ghosts, there are no known qualities. So when you're putting stuff out there to measure or to capture or have something triggered, we don't know. We don't know of what's causing it. And that's one of my big pet peeves, is that when you do these experiments, when people put these gadgets out into an open room and just say, go ahead, ghost, make it go off. And if by chance it goes off, you don't know what the hell made it go off. You can't say it's a ghost because you have no evidence to prove that. You have no data that supports that. You just know that an alarm sounded or a light lit up. That's it. There's no data that comes in to tell you, hey, what happened? And when it comes to controls, you need controls to weed out or control the variables that are happening here. Say, like, for example, the REM pod. It is a well-known, established fact that two-way radios can cause a REM pod to go off. So is anyone doing anything to guard against that? And if you're just putting it out in the middle of the room, you're not guarding against it. You're not putting controls in place. So you have, if I ask you, how do you know that's a ghost? And you say, well, it lit up.
Right.
I'm trying. Like, I usually on the inside, I do exactly what James did. I laugh, but I try not to laugh in their face. But it's like, hey, you're not doing the proper investigative method here. So it's very difficult to answer your question because we don't know what to measure for.
Right. Sage wants to know, so if we are trying to measure and define what ghosts are, how might you go about it? Start with the electrical, sound, heat, etc.
Well, that's measuring stuff in the known universe. If you follow traditional thought on what spirits are, they're not in this universe. They're at a higher dimension, a higher level of existence outside the simulation, whatever you want to call it. So it would be kind of like asking Microsoft Word to measure one of us. There, I mean, we're if you're going along with traditional, we're inside of a shell. Um, we don't even know where the outside is, if it's even there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to try to start to, this is a very complex question. If you're trying to figure out what something is, an unknown anomaly, you need to start measuring the environment itself and look for anomalies. And that doesn't mean, 20 minutes before your ghost hunt officially starts. When people go in and wave their magic wands around to see, oh, I have a EMF in this room or this. That doesn't work. You need to actually monitor the area for, at minimum, a year, 24/7, to understand the patterns in that particular room. That doesn't mean if you set up in one room, that covers the entire house or building. You need to do the entire building. So multiple pieces of equipment. This is never going to happen in ghost hunting. It's just not. It's not
Right.
practical. But that's where you need to start, because you are looking for true anomalies, which means like there's no pattern to it. There is no extraneous circumstances that cause that. Maybe somebody came in unannounced and flipped the switch and caused, a spike in the system or something like that. You need to account for everything to find an anomaly that does not fit within your parameters, that go beyond the controls that you have in place, that is just stands out, and then start to analyze the data from that anomaly and say, what possibly could cause this? That's where you start. So this is an incredibly long process. This is like generational. This is not something that can be done in a few days or weeks or months or years. This is going to be a generational kind of thing to understand, even if there's something there. And that's the point. I think that's the big problem. I understand this is a great hobby. It's fun. There's a big community. We get along. Most of the time, but there's some hiccups here and there. But I mean, there is no established. There's no established pattern. There's no established ghost. We don't know if ghost exists, if there is an afterlife. We don't know for sure. This is purely based on belief. And because of that, most people skip the science part and go right for the entertainment and go right for the hobby.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to be insulting. This is how it is. And unfortunately, there's a tribal knowledge effect going on where people go through this routine. They start doing it a lot. Maybe they get a YouTube channel. They have a website. They make up their business cards from Vistaprint and they put it out there in the world. And now all of a sudden they become serious investigators. And they're still doing the same stuff that they did in the beginning. And it's really not a serious investigation. It's still
right, and everybody is repeating the same cycle.
Yes, there's no progress.
Right, none whatsoever.
Yeah, it is circling around and around and around, just doing the same shit over and over. That's a definition of insanity.
We're all crazy.
Expecting a different result. And Joe's comment is, I disagree a little bit here. I get what he's saying. Even a little simple experiment is an experiment. It is an experiment because you're trying something, you're experimenting with something. It is by definition an experiment, but it's based on a belief.
Right.
And that's where the confusion comes in. When you start basing your experimental controls or what you predict is happening on a belief rather than the data or the science behind it, then there's a problem. You're not going to get the result you want. You're not going to get the result you need. You're going to get the result that you want.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly right. Yeah, Cass says it's not just the lack of recorded data. You have to have measurable, repeatable data sets with controls, as Kenny says.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... and I think it's the environmental... you also have to test all environmental factors as well. And I know a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah. You have to make sure the equipment, and feel free to cut me off because I tend to talk a lot.
Go ahead.
You guys
Go
realize
ahead.
that, so cut me off. I don't take offense to it.
It's
You're
less that I
good.
have to say.
You're good.
I mean, when people claim that places are so haunted and there's so much activity, then it should be repeatable. There shouldn't be a problem going in and being able to set up controls in order to accurately measure the environment and see if there's anomalies. But we usually don't. We don't see that. And even when you try, again, you can't go in with the beginning belief that this place is haunted. And unfortunately, that's the norm. Everyone, so many people, and I won't say everyone, but so many people that I see, they post on Facebook and YouTube and stuff, and they're really excited about going to a place, and they're excited about all the evidence that they're going to get when they haven't even gotten there yet.
Right.
And that's just like a way to stack the deck there. You know, like you haven't been there, you haven't actually gone through the experience yet, and you've already decided you're going to have evidence, and that's just a bad way of going in, and a bad mentality for investigations.
Well, that's kind of what separates a hunter from an investigator. I mean, hunters, they're going there with the mindset that, hey, there's a ghost here. I'm going to be the one that talks with it. Everybody else tried this method. Mine's going to work this time.
Right.
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 No, it doesn't work like that. So
You're totally right.
I mean, investigating, you're going in there to see, okay, what really happened?
That's it. That's what you want to know. Like, despite what people might think, I do not go in with the attitude of nothing's haunted. No, nothing's going to happen here. I mean, I might joke with it, and I'm sure Joe Vitale will bring that up because we have done that. But I go in with the attitude of weird things happen here. People had some kind of experience. I don't know what that experience was. I have a description, but I'm not sure exactly what they experienced. My job is to figure out what happened. Either way, doesn't matter. If I find a ghost, yeah, like,
Exactly.
awesome, you know, and I'm just as excited if I find out that it was a neighbor that was, you know, taking a leak out back that caused the EVPs. You know, like, I'm still excited because we solved the mystery. That's what it is. And I mean, there's the bonus if we do find a ghost, like that's paradigm shifting. That changes the world, you know, and I'd be happy to be part of that.
Oh, that would totally be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
So, that's what
be
we're all
awesome.
looking for.
But the major issue is I don't think that's ever going to happen so long as people keep using the, for lack of a better word, junk.
Yeah.
They're going out there with toys. They're not, and those that do take actual tools out there, do they really understand the tool and do they understand the physics behind it? Because it's not enough to, I mean, you can go out and, oh yeah, I know how to paddle a boat, but do you understand water current too?
Right.
So you have to know what you're dealing with on both sides when you go using any kind of tool, but we just keep using like mag lights and stuff like that as tools, and we.
I know, that just blows my mind.
Don't start on the
does.
flashlight shit. God. But that's a good analogy, James. That was really good because that's you can be in a boat and you can know how to paddle, but if you don't understand the current, you can paddle all freaking day and not go anywhere or go backwards. You know, like you'll lose progress if you don't understand what you're doing. And that's what we see here a lot in this community. And again, I know people have fun, and I'm not trying to take that away, except for Joe Vitale. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm just, if you're serious about it, then I'm just trying to help you be serious and not be a hobbyist. And I think the majority of the community are more hobbyists, even if they don't want to acknowledge that. I think they are because they're out there having fun. It's a community experience. We get to hang out with our friends. You know, we do events at night. We get to meet power celebs like Joe Vitale, and stuff like that. I'm picking on Joe. I like Joe.
He's got to click away.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh man.
So okay, bottom line is James, explain to everybody how an EMF detector is supposedly supposed to work, and why people would use it during an investigation.
The only EMF detectors are used to determine the source of an RF or EMF leak in equipment or power stations or something like that. That's what they were designed to do. Well, when you go into a house and you set one down on a table and it blinks a few times, there could be any number of things causing that. It could be a radio source. It could be something as simple as a particle from outer space hitting the transistor in it and flipping a 1 to a 0 or something. It could be solar wind pushing the magnetic field on the earth. In paranormal investigating, unless you're actually trying to find like let's say a motor's burning up inside the air conditioner and it's causing a lot of EM that's disturbing radios, and whenever the radio signal finally gets in, it's distorted, and oh my god, a demon just spoke my name. No, you had interference, and the EMF meter might find that, but it might not. So it's kind of useless out there.
Yeah, I think most of the people that are using it for paranormal stuff don't realize what it does, what it doesn't do, how it works, how a simple 90-degree turn of the device can have a major effect on it. You can literally have it pinned out at maxed out on its reading and turn it 90 degrees and it will go to 0 in same space without moving it away. That's what happens. Most people don't know that your normal single axis meters only measure the magnetic field.
Right.
It doesn't actually give you some of them do give you an electric field reading, but there you go, tri-field meter. That gives you the average of all 3 axes. And that's much better to use. I mean, I'd rather have like a good digital version of that, because you still have the analog meter and you still have to be able to see the needle in order to get the reading. But it measures all 3 axes at the same time and averages it out and it gives you the average. If you're using like a K2 meter or the Mel meter or the Lutron or whatever, the single axis meters, and you're not rotating it, you're not getting an accurate reading. And that's just the long and short of it. So I always say when people go in and they have, I'm looking for something I can use for a meter. If they hold a meter like this and they walk into a room and they go around the room like this and then walk out, they did not get any kind of anywhere close to an accurate reading anywhere in that room. And unfortunately, that's the tribal knowledge that's been going on for years. I did that when I was a ghost hunter back in like 96, 97. And people were still doing the same thing. And I mean, I think it comes down to a lack of understanding, a lack of a desire to learn about what you're doing. And we should distinguish, there's a difference between a lack of learning about what you're doing and watching YouTube videos. I mean, we get a lot of knowledge from YouTube videos. I renovated a lot of my house with YouTube. All right. So I'm not knocking it. But when the people watch like ghost hunting channels and they see the entertainment value ghost hunters doing their thing, they emulate them and try to do what they're doing. And it's almost like as if like, well, they're doing it and they're popular. They get like 100,000 views. Therefore, that must be how you do it. And unfortunately, that's only on the surface. There's a much deeper understanding of a lot of this equipment on how it works, how to interpret the data, how to collect the data properly, how to control for the data. There's a lot of information.
Yes.
Again, I'm talking a lot because there's a lot to say. So
there's a lot to say about it.
There is, yeah.
Cass says, if we can manage to measure and study time itself, do you think that it would advance paranormal science, for example, and whether time is affected by weather events, mineral, metal deposits, etc.?
Space and time are of the same fabric, according to Einstein. And the faster you travel through one, the slower you travel through the other. Both can be bent. both can be bent by gravity.
Mhm.
So as far as minerals and metal deposits, it would have to be a planet load of that in order to affect it. Weather, maybe lightning, but it would be immeasurable if it was. Time and space, they're of the same fabric. It's kind of like the electromagnetic field. They interact so much, they're practically the same field. So to answer that, not really those particular examples, but if you happen to have a black hole on you, that might do it.
I'm curious. I'm not really sure how to interpret this question because I'm not sure what you mean by measure and study time itself. I mean, we can measure and time. We can actually measure time as it depending on the gravitational field, as James was saying. Like, you have a stronger like satellites have to recalibrate their internal clocks because they're further away from the surface of the planet, so that gravity doesn't affect them as much. It's minuscule. I don't want to sound like it's a sci-fi movie and it's like, oh my God, there's like every year they have to adjust by like 17.34 hours. No, it's microseconds, but it's still a measurable difference. So we do understand how to measure time in different scenarios like that, and studying it with the effects of other gravitational pulls, especially if you're talking like a black hole and stuff like that gets into a whole different study. So I'm not really sure where you're starting the question from. Like, what do you mean by if we can manage to measure? Because we already are. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just not sure where the question was going with this.
Yeah, it sounded like she was asking about if you were to dig into physics, would it provide a the same question I asked you that one time.
Yeah. I mean, we can speculate so much, and I think what we all should realize is that, as a disclaimer, everything that we're talking about pretty much tonight is based on belief.
Right.
We're bringing some science into it, and we're bringing some good knowledge that is backed up by years or decades or even centuries of exploration, experimentation, knowledge, and building upon each other. But a lot of the concepts and questions are based purely on beliefs and then the what if scenarios. So they translate into hypotheticals.
Right.
That we try to put science to, but because it's hypothetical and we don't have all the variables to deal with, we're giving you speculation.
Right. Sean wants us as humans are never going to find out in our lifetime, but then what about the people that have seen apparitions?
Have they?
I'm not gonna lie, I've seen some things that to this day I cannot explain myself, but I haven't stopped trying, because if it can be explained, I don't want to sound like an idiot. Hey, I saw this ghost. No, it was actually this. This is a thinker.
There's so my issue with this is always, and when I say issue, it's just I always sound like I'm confrontational when I say this stuff. But the issue with this is that we're not sure what people actually saw. Like, yeah, you can have an experience where you believe that you saw an apparition, but what was it? We have to look at the entire environment. Like, what environment were you in? What frame of mind were you in? Was it something like when you were tired? Were you in the dark? Could you not see well? Was it well lit? Were you looking through a screen? Did you look through at a screen while in the dark and then look up and see something? Like, there's a lot of factors involved with understanding what your experience was. And even then, like, what do you mean by apparition? Did you see like a silhouette of somebody? Was it transparent, opaque? What did you see details? If you did see details, what were they wearing? And all this stuff. So there's a lot of detail that has to go into this. And this is just on the surface and taking it at face value that somebody had an experience. And I usually go with that. I want to make that clear. Like, I always go with, if somebody's telling me an experience, they had some kind of experience. but I don't know if they actually saw something. Maybe they hallucinated, or there's that third category that we always have to consider, is that they didn't see anything and they're making it up. And I'm not saying that everyone does that, but we all know there's people out there that do that. So that's always something that we have to consider. That's why I ask so many questions, not just to accuse someone of faking. It's to figure out all the details possible of their experience so we have a better understanding, and make sure that they're not filling in gaps, because that's another thing. Like, aside from fabricating an experience from whole cloth, some people, well, all of us do it. We all do as humans. We fill in the gaps. When we try to remember something, we don't have all the details. So we will fabricate details based on what we think should have been there. And that's how we tell the story. Now, determining which details were filled in and which were not is very difficult to understand. That's why we ask questions over and over again. We also ask the same questions, but different versions of the same question, in order to see, not to trip them up, but to see if they can answer the question.
Right.
And we get it's always hard when you're interviewing people, especially because I don't play 20 questions. I play like 2,000 questions. That's the game that I play.
Right.
And it's just to get the details. I'm not trying to say that people are making stuff up or lying or trying to fool me. I want to make sure I understand them, and I want to make sure they understand what they actually saw. And by doing this kind of Q&A back and forth, it makes them think. And no lie, like half the time I've done this, people have gone, you know what? I thought I did, but I don't think I actually saw that. I think I just filled that in. And that's really cool. That's really cool that they can, one, admit that, and then two, we can explore that.
Right.
And then start picking apart and teasing out the actual details. And then maybe we can speculate on what really happened. So.
Right. Wonderful. Okay, Cree.
Much better answer.
Our lovely Cree has a question. Don't you base your findings on your beliefs? I mean, you say you don't believe in anything yet. To me, that's a belief. So if you believe in nothing, will you get nothing? Right?
You can't believe in nothing. You can believe in something, but if you don't believe in something, there's a lack of belief. So there is no belief. I have ideas. I do. So has anyone seen Dogma? Kevin Smith, Dogma? Anyone see that? No? Oh my goodness.
Been a long time.
So I love the concept that's in that movie. And I acknowledge that it's a movie and written up and make believe. But there's a concept about not having beliefs, but having ideas. And that's usually what I go with. I have an idea that maybe this is it. Maybe it went this way. Maybe it's that way. But I'm not sure. I don't hold on to that belief. See, beliefs are something that we're usually born into. We usually get our first beliefs from our parents, our family. As we're being raised, we're pounded with beliefs. Like, you believe this is what you believe. That's normally the case. There's some exceptions. But we get those from our family, and then they're reinforced by friends that we hang out with in our circles and stuff. So we have these core beliefs, and they're extremely difficult to change. Much, much more difficult to give up completely. So having ideas is much easier to change when you're wrong, or you just don't have anything to back it up, than a belief. Because in my experience, people that have beliefs that are strongly held on to, if you give them evidence that's contrary to their belief, they move the goalposts and they make up reasons in order to still believe in their belief, rather than say, oh, okay, maybe I wasn't right on that. Maybe I wasn't.
Or they take it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's never like that. I never try to make it personal, unless it's Zach Baggins. And then,
then you go for it. You go for the juggler.
Yeah. I don't
That
want
guy's so self-absorbed, he's going to implode on himself.
Pretty much.
He probably does like twice a night.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay, I'm going to go to sleep.
Oh my.
I want to welcome everybody in that I didn't say hello to. I'm sorry. And I know I'm way behind on chat. Okay, Steph has a question. So, what do you think about animals? Do you believe they can sense something off? Can't they sense small earthquakes or upcoming ones?
Go ahead, you go.
Animals, their senses are more heightened in many ways, but a lot of times people misinterpret the animal's reaction to whatever it is that they're sensing. For example, my sister has a dog that will sit and bark for hours at literally nothing. just looking all different directions, just barking just to bark. And in the beginning, they were like, well, there must be something all around bothering the dog. No, the dog just likes to hear itself bark.
Bark, right.
So are we really interpreting the animal's reaction to whatever it is that they're sensing? Because they may hear a strange animal that our ears can't pick up, but to them, they're imagining something crazy, so they're overreacting or underreacting or something like that. So as far as animals, unless you can really get into their psyche, I don't know if we could.
I mean, we have to understand that dogs, cats, these have different ranges of vision and hearing. So when your cat stares at the wall or down a hallway, it's not because they're looking at a ghost. They probably see a fly or something down there. Or even like for example, my dog will listen for the UPS driver or the Amazon delivery guy, something like that. And they're hearing because I mean, when we sit there and it's nice and quiet in the house, I can hear the car door way down the street. I can hear it slam. You hear that bass, that subtle bass. But a dog's hearing is much wider range, and they're going to hear it before I do, especially if the TV's on, something like that. They're hearing this. They're also paying attention to other things. They don't care about the TV or, like what's on Facebook. They're paying attention to the world. So we'd have to rule out what they normally pay attention to first before we could say, well, maybe they're sensing something else. And when it comes to like sensing earthquakes and stuff, there's a lot of anecdotal stories about that, but there's very little evidence to support, especially like dogs and cats and stuff like that, that will predict an earthquake. I mean, I can't remember the last time somebody was in a field and caught video of like deer running and then an earthquake hitting 30 seconds later. We hear about those stories, but we actually don't see any evidence of those stories. So that's something to take in consideration too. And yeah, I mean, there's also that it goes back to some tribal knowledge. Tribal knowledge is just knowledge that not necessarily accurate or reliable, but it's been in the community for so long that is passed to the next generation, and it's just passed along without fact checking. So I think the idea that animals might be able to sense something is one of those tribal knowledge aspects where it's just been passed on. I remember hearing that when I was a ghost hunter, and I remember telling other people during conferences, like, oh yeah, animals, they know where ghosts are, and this, and then I really start thinking about it, like, how do I know that?
How do you know, right?
I don't know. Let me look it up. And then I looked it up, and it's like, oh well, no, I'm not seeing any evidence of this. Interesting. Okay, maybe I was wrong, and I'm putting it out. That actually makes me feel bad because I promoted false information for so long. That's why I try so hard to make up for it. I'm trying to make up for it now.
Right.
To pay for my sins.
Well, right there it says that Joe says, yeah, Kenny knows how to kill an investigation.
Oh. Wait, I got something for you. There it is.
Ta-da! You're number one.
Let me put that away.
Okay, guys, I'm going to kind of like scroll down and get caught up here. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. We're so behind. Let's see.
It's fun. It's an interesting discussion.
Let's see. I wish I could say. Oh, Sandra had to leave. Bye, Sandra. I'm sorry. She's probably gone already.
Yeah, a lot of these. in any subject, any topic that you pick up, somebody somewhere has done a study on it. Finding it and is it credible is another question.
Right.
Right.
Right. You have to know where papers were published. Was it peer reviewed? Was there any critique of it? Was it somebody that just put it out? Because there's been the example that I use, and I'll get through it real quick because I don't want to take off your question here. There was a Bigfoot study. People called out Ketchum, Dr. Melba. Is it Melba Ketchum? I think it Ketchum. She put out a call for all this like DNA samples. Send me your Bigfoot samples, hair and tissue and blood or whatever. And she did this whole study and claimed to do a study. She wasn't qualified to do the study, mind you. She didn't have the qualifications to actually do the study. She was a veterinarian, but she was claiming to do DNA analysis, which she couldn't do. So no one would publish her work because it was shit. So she purchased a journal from a obscure country that didn't publish anything, and she published her own paper in order to get it out there and say, look, it was peer reviewed when it wasn't. So
wow.
This is something that you can look it up because it's a fascinating story. But this is a big reason why I say, fact check. Just because you say you found a study, that's great. Let me see the study. Because it might not be an academic study, it might not be peer reviewed, and it might not be well designed study. Because if you don't have a good design and there's a lot of flaws, that opens it up to people's cheating, misinterpretation, bad results, a lot of stuff.
Well, actually, I was just reading something from the PSI Encyclopedia tonight, where they were talking about electromagnetism and paranormal phenomenon, and all of these studies dating back from like the early 1800s, and they all pretty much come to the same conclusion that there is no substantial evidence proving that a ghost or spirit can leave behind any kind of electrical residue or trail. And they're continuing studies, but yeah, it hasn't been proven.
It'd be interesting. I mean, how would you differentiate? Because I mean, we can look at electrical components, and some of the components will hold a charge. So how do you differentiate between like that's what it's supposed to do and spirit residue or like a ghostly signature? I mean, you'd have to go through this entire process of analysis of all of this to try to figure out if there's an anomaly that shouldn't be there, and then study that anomaly to determine if it was just a random anomaly or if it's something that's repeatable and demonstratable. So there's a lot to it. It's an interesting concept, which would probably make a great horror movie, but
yeah.
I don't think in reality.
Science fiction.
Science fiction horror. Yeah, that'd be good.
See, Mark wants to know, I want to know if the spirit entity, whatever it may be, if they draw energy from surroundings, would this cause a spike? Also, taking a spectral analyzer would be a good idea.
What spectrum are you trying to analyze? RF, visual? I mean, what are you looking at with the spectrum analyzer?
All right, Mark, you have to explain further.
I mean,
well, explain the differences between them. So just wait, if whatever he's looking for.
Well, spectrum, usually when you have a spectrum analyzer, the spectrum refers to a range of frequencies. You can have a spectrometer, and that breaks down the different colors of light that anything's receiving. Like, for instance, if you want to go investigate the Marfa lights and see what they are, you could use a spectrum analyzer and get a footprint of that light and compare it to other things and say, okay, well, yes, it is this kind of headlight and this kind of headlight because it matches up. I mean, the footprint, the fingerprint matches with these different kind of lights. So if you have I'm talking on the phone, I'm getting these weird voices in here. We'll take an RF spectrum analyzer and see if you're getting any spikes, because Roger down the street doesn't have the SWRs right on his ham radio, and it's just splattering RF everywhere and coming through the phone line. So it could help debunk a few things, but it's more specific. You have to have a starting point on where you're going to use that tool and why.
Right. And I would think across the board, if this is a huge if, another entity was drawing energy, whatever the energy is, it would cause a dip in the normal system. It's like when you have too many electrical devices on in your house, and you flip a switch and the lights dim. It creates a draw. That's what I would expect to see, not a spike, because that would indicate there's more going into the system.
But what if it's negative matter?
Just don't clash with regular matter, because then you have a big boom.
Don't cross the streams.
Yeah, and antimatter and negative matter are not the same thing. They're two totally different things.
Excuse me. Yeah, Joe says, I have a beater that reads EM, EMF, and RF. I don't use it for ghosts. I use it as a debunking tool.
Yeah, that's really all they're good for.
Excuse me, my goodness. Well, pretty much that's what I use it as well as a debunking tool. I go when I used to do, residentials and stuff. I go around and I would check to see what was emitting some kind of electrical current, so that you could check that off the list. So that if something does happen, well, no, it was this, like you said, or it was the air conditioner or the microwave, or bad wiring. So I mean, that's basically what it should be used for, is to debunk what everybody else would say. Oh, well, it's the ghost. It's
Right.
Yeah, and even then, and if you have a cheap one like this one right here, I paid $10 for this one. Super cheap, single axis. Yeah, it's got a digital screen on it, but it's really kind of junk. And I got this before I really started learning a whole bunch about this. Back around 2005 was when I first started, and like Kenny was saying, I believed all the hype and all the junk, and then I started looking at it. I was like, but anyway, you go around with this single. If you turn, and I've done it with this one, if you turn, it takes a reading.
right.
It says, oh, wait, there's a spot. It's just shoddy equipment. And it could have just been picking up the Earth's magnetic field whenever I did that. If you move it quick enough, whatever. But just because you get a reading on one of these, if it's junk readings, just don't even bother with them on ghost time.
Internet gremlins.
Gremlin.
Steph wants to know, I'm curious what Kenny thinks. Kenny. Does he think that animals can sense or see something as humans can't? Saw a great movie, Good Boy, recently about a dog that could see spirits, entities, and such.
So first, I want to see that movie. I did see the previews, and my wife said absolutely no. She doesn't want to see it because there's potential for the dog. I mean, the dog is obviously going to get hurt during the movie because the trailer makes it sound like. But I want to see it.
You're going to cry.
I think the dog's going to kick ass ultimately. But remember, that's just a movie. That's a movie that somebody wrote for horror in order to get emotional response from you as an audience member. But when it comes to animals, if you look it up, you can go down the list. Different animals have different visual ranges or hearing ranges. So yes, sometimes they can hear things that we can't. Does that mean it's a spirit? No, it just means they have a wider range in which to work from. Some have less. Like we might be able to see lower rangers when they can see higher rangers, or vice versa. There's a full chart out there. You can look for different animals. But I think the basic point that I'm trying to get across is that yes, they have a wider range, but it doesn't automatically say they see ghosts. That's a belief. That's assumption. That's an assumption that reinforces a belief. and that's what we have to avoid, because now, I mean, I can say that dogs can see unicorns, but only cats can see dragons, because of the different visual frequencies.
Right.
And that is definitely an assumption, and it sounds like a silly assumption. And I'm not mocking you at all, Steph, but it's an assumption that could be someone's belief and used to promote someone's belief. So I think the statement could be cats and dogs or other animals can see different things, but just a wider spectrum. Just like we can't see into the infrared. Okay, we can't see it, but our cameras can. And our cameras can translate that into a frequency that we can see. Right. And look onto the monitor. And there's usually nothing different. That's in there. So, I mean, I hope I answered your question. I'm not sure if I did, but hopefully I did.
Okay. Mark wants to know, what would be a way to capture data on the paranormal? Like, what instruments would be right to use? If a spirit does use EMF, then what's that one way, but sounds like it needs to have more clear data? And then he puts on there like a spectrum analyzer. So I think it would pretty much what he wants to know is, what kind of equipment would you recommend that somebody does bring into an investigation? They would help you collect data.
It depends on what data you're trying to collect. It all goes back to that. We're not going to detect ghosts. And right now, I think we should just kind of give up on that until we have some idea what they would be made out of, if we can even, like we were saying earlier, I mean, if they're outside this spatial dimension, we have no way of detecting anything outside of that. So any tools that we could go and buy ourselves offline, it's not going to do it. So basically, the only thing that you can do with equipment is you're basically going to try and, for lack of a better word, go debunk. You're just trying to find out what's really happening, but you have to take the claim and start from there. And it depends on what the claim is. It's pretty complicated because there's so many variables to go into that.
I think building on what he said, the only thing you can really do, and again, this is not going to be practical, is to set up environmental sensors inside a room. And as he said, it depends on the claim. So if somebody claims a certain room, a specific room in a house or building is haunted, like all the experiences happen in one room, that would be a good scenario, because you only have to concentrate in that one room. You set up everything that you could possibly measure in that room with data loggers. So you have the sensors, they're connected to data loggers, they're taking maybe like 25, 50 samples per second, maybe more, and you're monitoring that for 24/7 for a year. And again, you look for an anomaly. When you find that anomaly, if you find an anomaly, then you start exploring that anomaly. What caused it? What's it doing? How does that anomaly affect humans? Their physiology, their biology, their neurology. Like, how does it affect us if it does? So again, it comes into a long process of trying to figure out where to go. Understand that EMF stands for electromagnetic field. So you're not measuring the frequency per se. You're measuring the field. And that field is produced by the electrons flowing through the wire. Electricity creates that magnetic field that's around that wire, or whatever conductor is going through, and it's creating that field. So you're measuring the strength of that field, not the actual frequency. And then, of course, that field diminishes a lot when you move away. Like it falls off sharply as you move away. I think I've demonstrated like a fan. Oh crap! I have a fan, but I don't have an EMF meter. But if you put your meter up to a fan, even a small battery operated one, you can likely max out that meter. But you come off of it about 6 inches, and you'll probably be close to zero. And that's how
Inverse square law.
Yeah, because it spreads out. You come from the point and it spreads out. That's perfect. Yeah, it spreads out, and as it spreads out, it gets less intense, and you get less of a reading. So yeah, there's. I really don't know where I'm going. I totally forgot the question, but I'm going with it. That like you'd have to do a lot of work in order to determine if something was there. And even if you find an anomaly with all this work, that still doesn't mean yet that it's a ghost or a spirit or something like that. It just means you found an anomaly. It could be something else.
Right. Petal wants you to, Kenny, explain to me ghost footsteps.
Ghost boots. All the ghosts are from like the 1920s. That's when people, they were sharp dressers. They wore actually they went out in suits. I miss those days. People getting up on like a Saturday morning and putting on a 3-piece suit and going out into the world and doing their thing. There's a lot of possible explanations for them. Ghost footsteps could be animals. It really could be. And I know most people are like, no. I know what an animal sounds like. Most of the time we do. But once in a while, if we're hearing it from a distance, it might sound weird. And it could be footsteps. But that's just one. That's one of many that we could explore.
Okay. Pam says, do you think quantum physics relating to measurement causing quantum systems to no longer exist in multiple states at once is possible? Why we haven't been able to measure anything we can a spirit. Anything we can a spirit. Oh.
Are you talking about waveform collapse?
I mean, I'm not a physicist. When quantum comes up, I usually say like, and I'm not being confrontational. It's going to sound like it, but are you a physicist? Because I'm not a physicist and I don't understand this.
Right.
I have physicists that I do collaborate with, and I have to ask them to explain concepts to me like 17 times before I understand it. So I can't answer this question because I have no idea what I wouldn't have no idea what I'm talking about.
Well, if you're talking about waveform collapse, it's really misrepresented a whole lot. That what they try to present it as, what a lot of YouTube channels try to present it as, is everything exists in every state until you look at it and then it's one thing. Well, that's not how it is. Everything is one thing or another. It has to do with the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. And this gets really, really complicated. I study it a lot. I love this stuff. But if you don't study it every day, it's really hard to wrap your brain around. But I think what you're saying is something to do with waveform collapse. That's not paranormal at all. That's just how quantum physics are. We don't know the state of a particle until we measure it. It's not whether or not we look at it. I mean, you can take the measurement even if you're blind. It doesn't matter if you look at it. And a lot of them phrase it that way, is when you look at it, it's this and that. Like the what's the experiment called?
The double slit.
Yes. Yeah, that. It's when they measure it that the act of measuring it is what messes it up. It's not that we're looking at it and it changes, because it doesn't care whether we're looking at it or not. So there's nothing paranormal about that. When it comes to quantum physics, it's just once you get past the size of an atom, the rules as we understand it just go out the window. They just work totally different. That's why it's called quantum mechanics, because it's a whole different field of mechanics. But
right,
be careful what YouTube
you're
watching, what the study is.
Right. Okay, let's see. Dragon has a question for you, Kenny. Kenny, what about Slimers? Does he leave DNA all over?
So yeah. I mean, I would confidently say, based on the purely fictional film, which I love dearly, yes, Slimer does leave a DNA trace all over everything.
Let's see. Sage wants to know: do you
Is it
think?
squishy when you poke it? Though?
Yeah, it's kind of gross, actually. Do you think that the centuries of reports do not have some kernel of truth?
I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, they're again, you're dealing with people's experiences, their perception of what happened. It's not always accurately what happened. It's their perception, how they perceive it, and again, under the conditions that they did perceive it. So you'd have to look with every individual case and study each individual case to understand, to have a better understanding. You're not going to completely understand 100% what they experienced because you can't. Like, we all see things the way we see them. We describe them in our own ways, our own descriptors. So it's going to be difficult to do that. There can be a kernel of truth, and it depends on what that truth is. I mean, I assume that question was asked in a way that the kernel of truth means that they saw something paranormal, and I would not take it that way. If they saw a shadow down at the end of the hall, that's a kernel of truth. Maybe they did see a shadow. Doesn't mean it's a demonic or a ghostly shadow. It's a shadow. Something moved and caused light to pass through a room or a window and stuff and caused a shadow where they were. That's what they saw. Again, this is just a hypothetical situation. So we have to take all the details. We have to look at the scenarios. We have to look at everything. I don't think everyone is lying. I don't think everyone is making it up. And I think there are aspects of truth in their descriptions, but it's where are we applying that truth? The location, how many people were there, who was there, and even that, it's difficult to say truth because people do make mistakes, which are definitely not meant to deceive. It's just mistakes. We also have false memory, which is a problem. You know, I can give you examples of people that have told stories about a group of friends being together and having, parties, not paranormal stuff, but experiences together when that person that was telling the story actually wasn't part of the group. They just heard the story so many times that they incorporated it into their own memory, creating a false memory. So there's a lot to consider. I know this goes back to the beginning, I think, when we talked about ghost hunting and being like more of a hobbyist kind of thing and a community getting together. It's fun. It's fun to trade stories and go places and explore new places, but this is not usually serious research. It's more anecdotal. We hear a lot of stories. We share stories, and we don't really do deep dives into an investigation. And I think that's where it separates. And I think you said it earlier, James, like it separates ghost hunters, which is not an insult. It's more enthusiasts from people that really investigate a claim.
Mm-hmm. What he said.
Yeah, what he said. What he said. Leanne says, "Oh my God! All the Dream Crushers in one room. Run for your lives."
Yep. That's not my title. That's not my title.
And then Joe says he has a same meter Friday. That things is not good. He says it's not good. Oh no.
You can have this one.
Ms. Cree says, question, don't you think if people are going to do an investigation, they should take a thermal detector, not for spirits, but to rule out rodents and other animals?
If you're having a noise issue, yeah, maybe. I mean, if it's good enough, it depends on the resolution and its strength. and they're not cheap. I mean, I have one that I paid $120 for, and you get 10 feet away, and it can't tell that it's a human or not. I used it whenever I worked in HVAC, just to find leak in the duct cold spot, or people had trouble. Hey, I can't get this door to seal or something. Well, yeah, you need more sealant. Look at how much air you're losing. But as far as animals or people or hot water pipes that move or anything like that, it needs to be good resolution. So you're probably going to spend $1,000 minimum on one of those. So you better be very serious about what you're going to use that thing for if you're going to spend that kind of money.
Right.
Right. And it really depends on the claim. I mean, yeah, if it's they're hearing noises, especially scratching noises, yeah, you might want to, employ something like that, because there could be rodents in the walls and stuff like that are generating heat, and it will generate that heat spot behind the wall. So yeah, it really depends on the claim.
I'd rather they spend the money on that than a DR60.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes, please do not buy a DR60 ever, 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 ever.
There you go. Yeah, listen to me. That's the thing I don't understand. Everybody has seen you guys and a lot of other people take that thing apart. It is known to be faulty, but yet they're still using them. They're still purchasing them. I don't understand the insanity. I just don't.
Because they're doing just what Kenny said that they do. They go along with all the hype that they see on TV and big YouTube channels about it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want results, if you want a creep factor, like, there you go. You drop $1,000 on that, and you'll get something every single time.
If you're gonna do EVP, get something, that's an actual studio grade recorder. This is one of the cheaper ones, but it's considered studio grade. It's a Tascam, Zoom, anything like that. But God, don't mess with a DR60.
Like Wisdom. Wisdom's like, buy a DR60 to smash it on a live stream.
There you go.
Everyone chip in, buy one, send it to me. I will do that.
Do it. There you go.
Today.
Yeah, donate today for the DR60 fund.
Give till it hurts. Because it will.
Sage says, let's see. They are starting to find out that smells uses quantum vibration. It might be possible to create a quantum measuring tool. It might find something that we cannot with normal tools. Have you heard of any of this?
Not related to smells, no.
No, I always be cautious when you hear anyone use the word quantum with paranormal. That should be a rule of thumb, because it is a buzzword. I hear quantum so many times, and I've dealt with people trying to sell me products that would detect or capture ghosts using the word quantum. And it usually, again, it goes back to what I said earlier. I'm not a physicist. I don't understand quantum physics. So I go to a physicist that works in that field to understand things, to have them explain it to me. Your run-of-the-mill average Joe that's building ghost hunting equipment from novelty toys does not understand quantum physics. I can guarantee it. So be wary of that. And on that note, I can't answer the rest of the question because I don't know.
Yeah, anything to do with smell, that's the olfactory. That's like taste. That's chemical. That's not quantum. That's straight up chemical reaction.
Right.
So there you go. Okay, let's see. Joe says thermal imaging cameras waste of money for paranormal investigations. Most that are used in the field only read surface temperatures and not ambient temperature.
Like the one that I had.
Yeah.
Okay, Cree has a question. Kenny was curious if you, poor Kenny, was curious if you ever read or saw or read the Complete Paranormal Investigations Handbook, a comprehensive guide to ghost hunters, and what you think about books like that.
Let me see. I have a plethora of books. And I may have read this. I'm just looking this up. Definitive Guide for Ghost Hunter. Oh, Comprehensive Guides for Ghost Hunters. So that is Peter J. Rowe and Richard Walsh. I do not have this. It doesn't look familiar, so I have not read it. So I don't know what. Let me look and say what it says. Founder, assistant director of the Searcher Group, Canada's oldest and most reputable paranormal research team, presents comprehensive. I'm trying not to bore you. Sorry, I'm so used to doing this on my own show.
That's all right. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Featuring groundbreaking theory and strategies to look at old problems in new ways, the book is essential to conducting professional paranormal investigation. They teach how to assemble your team, plan what to do before, during, and after your investigations, use the right equipment, and much more. This sounds, honestly, that paragraph sounds like your stereotypical guide to ghost hunting book, which they're pretty much all cookie cutter ones. But I haven't read it, so I don't know. I'm curious to see what equipment they're talking about. They're saying use the right equipment, and it doesn't say. Ooh, read sample.
Read sample. There you go.
Let's see what the table of contents says. At least let me if that. They don't give me. They don't give me that. All right, never mind. I'd have to look into it. I'm going to send the link to my librarian because that's how I get books for free.
There you go.
We have our own library at CFI, so I send them books. He orders them. I get to read them, and then they go into the library forever.
There you go.
I will look at that.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Joe says back in early 2000s, haunted locations had security cameras set up and could be viewed online. Some of those locations had those security cameras going for years. Not one operation was captured.
Apparition. Maybe.
He put, yeah, I think it's what he meant. Typo.
Good Joe.
Typo, Joe. I read it as a C.
Joe. You know what? It's interesting because you hear stuff like that. There are places, locations that I've been to with either myself or with other teams, and they have surveillance cameras up. And you ask them, like, that's usually as soon as I see them, it's like, how long have these been up? Oh, for years. Where's the footage? Do you have, like all these ghosts, and you're saying this is like the most haunted place because every place in the world is the most haunted place because that's how they advertise and sell tickets for $150 a person. Like, where's the footage? Oh, we don't have any. Why not? Like, where is anything happening? You have this entire place covered. You would think that there would be some footage, but there's usually not. And it's, well, there never is. Like Joe says, there never is. I've never come across a place that actually had footage. And when they do say that they have footage, like I've been on tours, ghost tours, where they say, oh, this location, I think it was, where was I? Seattle. I was in Seattle and took a ghost tour, and they told me that this corner bar had footage of a ghost. And I said, great. The next morning I went to the bar and I talked to the manager and said, do you have footage? I'm interested in seeing it. Oh no, we don't have any of that. No. It's yeah, I get it, Joe. I'm right there with you.
So we've got Mark says, I've heard, I don't know what he was trying to type. There's a typo there, Mark. But he said something footsteps sounds on a bridge 3 times and the path by the bridge on the gravel once, and nothing ever been there, all captured. So you're catching the sounds of the footsteps, but you've never seen what made the footsteps that you've heard, is what he's basically saying.
Okay. So the problem comes down to, if you didn't find a source, then we don't know what actually caused that sound. Were you actually hearing it from where you think the sound was? You said it was captured. Is it captured on audio? Because if it's only audio, then unfortunately that doesn't provide any kind of tangible evidence. It just says, all right, somebody walked there like that. And I'm not being confrontational. I know I'm sounding like that, but as an outsider, I would say, what's the difference between a recording of that and somebody just walking up and you holding a recorder and recording it? Like, right. Is there any, like, multiple cameras? If there are multiple witnesses, stuff like that. We'd have to actually get something like that.
So that's why I like contact microphones, because you can actually pinpoint where that. But if you have a bridge and people are saying, "Oh, well, I'm hearing footsteps on this," well, is it really coming from the bridge itself? If you have a contact microphone on it, you might be able to pinpoint it a little bit better. But
Right.
you know, it's
And it's difficult with the different materials. Like, how do you know if sound travel? Well, sound does travel, and we know that. Like, is it bouncing off of the material on the bridge? How much of a bridge is it? Is it covered bridge? Is it like metal rails, metal railings, or something like that? Like, again, I know I keep saying the same things over and over again, but it's important. Details matter in an investigation. Details matter. Watch Reacher, great show. But yeah, it's so
no, you're right. Joe, I'm not going to repeat that. I'll just let them read it.
Freaking Joe, man.
I can't give one example. Like I said, I've done a lot of air conditioning before. A lot of lake houses. They'll every one of them's got a pier out there, and I would swear, I would put my hand on a Bible, I heard footsteps, somebody walking on that pier, only to walk out there and find out that it was just the water lapping at the bottom, just slapping it at a certain rhythm.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, Wiz says buy a DR60, smash it on a live stream. Spending $1,000 on them is the scary part. That's right, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Creases, I would say if they're willing to pay $600 for an Ovilus 5, then they would be willing to spend money on a good thermal detector.
It depends. I mean, maybe. I mean, this is a hobby and a passion for a lot of people. So they might have put everything that they had into that $500 piece of equipment, and probably misplaced trust too. But like, they put in a lot because they probably saw it, they wanted it, and that doesn't mean that. I know if I buy something for $500, I definitely am eating ramen noodles for the next week.
Oh yeah.
I can't afford to just keep going out and buying stuff like that. So it might just come down to, what they could afford and what they wanted at the time.
Yeah. Wisdom says, isn't quantum just a measurement of calculation speed?
Quantum is, I think, tiny.
Quantum is like the smallest, or what the word's supposed to mean is like the smallest measurable, the smallest fundamental. I'm tripping myself up here.
It is defined as a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of the radiation it represents. See, that's why I don't do quantum shit. I stay away from it because I don't understand what that means.
And again, something like speed or velocity, it's a property of the matter. Quantum is just basically just means it's just a smaller part. I mean, you break things up into smaller and smaller things. I mean, you have a molecule, you break it down into atoms. You break down the atom to electrons, protons, neutrons. The neutrons and protons are broke down into quarks, charms, gluons. You just keep breaking things down, and that's basically what the word quantum is about, is breaking it down to these fundamental parts.
Smallest, yeah. It says that quantum means the smallest possible amount of or discrete unit of something, like a packet of energy. So
right.
It's smallest.
Tiny. So it's it's a lot to take in, guys. Joe says, yeah, when you have a location, say they do have something interesting to show you, it's a fucking dust or a bug.
Like, that's one of the things that has become difficult, even though it's routine. Like, I'm constantly said every day, I get dozens of emails or requests, like, look at this photo, look at this video, and it's from famous locations or people's houses and stuff. And it's like, I get what Joe's saying. Like, most of the people think that they have something incredible. Some are scared. They're actually scared because they don't know what they're looking at. Others, and you can tell the others are in it for like, tell me I have something awesome because I'm going to make a buttload of money on this, you know. And you open it up and you look at it, and it's dust, it's a
Right.
bug, it's something like that, and something that I've seen thousands of times. But I always consider that this person that reached out to me, whether they're sincere or greedy, this is the first time they might be looking at somebody like me or asking someone like me about this. So I treat everything the same way, and I try to give a good explanation. Unless they outright say, you know, like, I think I can make money off of this, then I don't bother.
Right.
Because you're in it for a reason for yourself, which that's cool for you, but to me that's not the right reason, so I don't need to help you.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually just dealt with something like that just recently. I had somebody come up to me and say that they thought that their apartment was haunted, and then she mentioned orbs. I'm like, oh, okay. Let me take a look and let me see what you've got. And I just had to tell her, to be honest with you, it's just dust. You could tell by looking at it, it's just dust. And I know people are looking at that and thinking it's something special when it isn't. And so it's really difficult to have to tell somebody that and really let them down.
Yeah, and you kind of get the sense of whether they're really excited about it or if they're scared. If they're scared, it's usually relief when you tell them, like, this is dust. Here's an example. I have stuff I can make for you and do this. So it's all in how you approach it. You try to be nice as possible, be professional,
Right.
and you don't talk down to them. You don't say, oh, well, it's dust. Everybody knows it's dust. You just look at it.
Right.
I try to explain why I'm saying it's dust. These are the details that I see. This is the lighting. This is the camera. This is where your flash was on the camera. And so it's highlighting it on this side rather than the other side.
Right.
So all these little details, and it helps ease their mind.
Right.
So,
I mean, you don't like to have to, like, be the dream crusher, but it's just, I also don't want to feed them a line either.
Right.
I've had, like, it was a long time ago. I do think I sent you the picture, Kenny. It was a woman who had caught a supposed apparition in a mirror in her bedroom. And I think I sent you the photograph, but I'm telling you, it was a really good photograph, because at first I'm thinking to myself, oh, wow, it totally freaked me out. But then I kept looking at it, and then I had other friends looking at it who had more experience in photography than I do. They're saying no, that it was put in there. You could tell that it was, airbrushed on the edges, and they did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get skilled. I mean, I use Photoshop every day. I use video editing software every day, so you get used to the techniques. I see the blending techniques. I see how overlays can be put in, and if you overlay and layers so many things together so you can hide it. But there are ways to look at it and enhance it to figure out, okay, they put that in there. That was added later.
Right.
And you point out the aspects to it. Those people I'm usually more direct with, because that's, if it's a parent sending it to me because their kid pranked them,
Right.
Polite, professional. I usually get the same picture of the ghost, and I put it in my hand and I show them a picture and, like, here, look, I got the ghost. They're pranking you. But if somebody that's trying to pass it off in order to promote their place as haunted, then you are lying to people. And
Right.
I will call you out. You will be on my next show.
Right. Well, actually, another red flag was because she said it was caught on security camera in the bedroom. But what she sent me was a still shot. And I said, well, can you send me the footage from the camera? So, and then she goes, well, I'm going to have to look for it. Okay, well, you had the still shot. Why can't you find the video?
Right.
And then that was the end of that her to her. So it's,
That's your answer.
kind of bursted the bubble there.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark says that, going back to the bridge and the footsteps, he says he caught it on video and audio on capture on the bridge next to me of the footsteps. This was the next message he put on there. So,
I mean, you're welcome to send me a link to it, like clip it out, get a good 30-second clip, with it in the middle, with your anomaly in the middle, and that I can get an idea of like before and after, and I'll take a look at it. And there's other people. I mean, if you want to get second and third opinions, like Joe Vitale, he's really good at video and editing. So he's somebody that I would recommend sending it to as well.
Yeah, Marcus caught some very interesting stuff, and he's the first one to say, "Oh no, it's it's BS." But then when he has that one moment, it's like the aha moment. Then he tries to figure out what it is, after the jump scare is over with. And
we all go through. I mean, I still
Right.
get stuff that sometimes it's sent to me. Sometimes I get it myself, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, and I'll spend a day or two going back and forth. I'll play it on the big screen. I'll walk away. I look at it from down the hall, like maybe I'll notice something. And when that fails, I usually send it out to other people because like my colleagues have different experience and different
Right.
skill sets. So maybe they'll see something I don't, and that's how we do it. I mean, that's how it should be done in this community.
Oh yeah,
Don't think because you call yourself a ghost hunter or paranormal investigator that you are an expert in all these different areas. You are not. That's just the
exactly.
plain simple truth. If you need help, don't be shy. Don't be too proud. Reach out. But reach out to someone that has the skills. Don't reach out to your friend that maybe is like, I don't know, he's maybe an auto worker. He works on cars, and you're going to ask him about plumbing.
Right,
Don't
exactly
do it.
right.
Find someone that actually has the skills in that area, and ask them.
Well, see, that's what I do. Like if I'm in the question about certain things, Friday, hey Friday, what's check this out for me, or this or that, or hey Kenny, would you mind looking at this? Or and I've done it with Joe. Hey Joe, check it, check. Because you're right, we don't.
I'm more of an
everything.
enthusiast. I'm no expert.
So, but when it has to do with like electronics and sound and all that, then I send it to you because you could break it down and figure it out what I'm hearing or what I think I'm hearing. So
Right. And I don't mind taking a look at it.
Yeah,
so,
that's good. I mean, when I have equipment, when I get a new device, I take it apart, and I mean, I have a mechanical background, so in both aerospace and automotive. So taking stuff apart, not a problem. Putting it back together, usually not a problem. But sometimes there's extra pieces.
then
But
you just toss them in the bucket.
yeah,
Yeah.
but when it comes to like circuit boards and the components that are on there, like
Right.
certain chips and stuff, I can look it up and get the specs, but I don't really understand the specs. So there's several people that I can reach out to that have backgrounds and degrees in computer engineering and stuff like that, and say, hey, can you tell me what this is? And they will give me a full report on it.
Right. And it's good. That's the whole point of all of this. As the community, we should reach out when we don't, know answers to our questions.
Right.
Mark says, the concrete bridge, and by no means saying ghosts. It's just I've not seen anything causing it.
Okay.
So yes, send it to Kenny, your clips, Mark, and he can check it out for you.
And it's interesting, like especially with the experience that James described with the water underneath. I mean, what's underneath of it? You could actually be hearing something that's under the bridge, and because of the acoustics in the area, it might sound like it's coming from right next to you. But again, this is speculation. I'm
Right.
not saying that's what it is. Somebody walking.
Oh, okay, James. Let's see. Joe says, Dawn and I have heard what sounded like someone walking up on us at the Marone house. Had that pissed off dad walk. We never claimed it to be a ghost. We have no idea what it was. It was cool. So, Joe, you're more than welcome to join on. If you want to come on up, let me know.
Oh my God, he's going to jump right on now.
Yeah, get on it. Oh, and then Dawn is in here. Like I said, I'm sorry, guys, if I missed you. I'll pop it in. There's just so much going on, and I'm trying to keep track of the questions. So I do apologize for not saying hello to everybody that's popping in. And if we do get it's a little quirky, guys, I do have bad weather coming this way. So I've had my fingers crossed the whole time we've been on.
I've been waiting because we have high winds.
Yes,
It's
same
been
here.
windy all day. Oh yeah, you're not that far.
Well, yeah,
from-
you're in Buffalo.
Right.
You're not too
Yeah.
far from me.
So yeah, I'm having the same. I was like, all right, well, I have my setup down in the basement now. I'm good. If the power goes out, I can go over to work and try that. I'll get on, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because my husband gave me the heads up. Yeah, it's I says, I know, I got the fingers crossed, but yeah, you're only like 4 hours from me,
Right.
Penny. So we're experiencing the stuff. Let's see. Joe says, I studied and I use that term loosely, studied quantum physics. That is just stuff that my brain cannot retain and really confusing. It is. It's because it's a lot to absorb.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I read when I can. I'll read some when a new paper comes out, it's published or something. I'll read through it. I still don't understand it all. I mean, I'll get some of the concepts, and I will reach out to a friend or two and say, "Hey, did you read this study? What's it mean?" But I can understand the Barney style description that I get from them, but I can't understand the actual paper. So that's why when it comes to physics and especially quantum physics, I will tell you straight up, I don't know, and I can't answer your question.
Yeah, same here. I can understand it when it's explained, when I
Yes.
read it or
Yeah.
somebody explains it. But yeah, as far as me just spewing off at the top of my head, forget it. That's just not my realm.
Right.
Let's see. Steph says, yeah, so Kenny is gentle the first time he crushes your dreams. Yes, he's
I have to-
gentle. He's nice.
Yeah, I get you. I make sure you have a blanket, a little chocolate on your pillow, stuff like that. Take it easy.
Just so
It's okay.
considerate.
Shh. It's not a ghost.
That's-
But then the second time, there's no lube at all.
yeah, just raw.
Raw side.
Oh, yeah, Don says, but they get mad when they ask you to look and then you give them an explanation that differs from what they want to hear.
Right.
She's nailed it. You're right.
And that's on them. I never take the blame on that, because if you are reaching out to me, you should know who you're reaching out to. Simple as that. I mean, that's what I do. If I reach out to somebody, I have an idea who they are and what they do, and how they view whatever it is I'm approaching them with. So they should know off the bat. I'm a skeptical person. I deal with science. I don't necessarily deal with beliefs. I mean, I do deal with beliefs, but I don't have my own beliefs and this and that. So if you're sending me a photo expecting me to give you a paranormal answer, that's not going to happen. At most, I will tell you, I don't know what this is, because that's the truth. If I tell you this is a ghost, I'm lying to both of us, because I don't know, and I don't have any evidence to support that. I look at a picture and say that's a ghost, unless it's Casper, then that's okay. But otherwise, like, I don't know if it's a ghost. I don't know if it's a spirit. I don't know if it's a demon. I don't have enough information. I will tell you I don't know. So be prepared for that. If they get mad, not my fault.
Yeah, they usually do. They usually do. See, Justice, I don't think a lot of investigators or average person really understands how light and position of light dramatically affects the outcome of video or photo.
Right.
He's absolutely correct on that one.
They don't understand cameras. I mean, you really got to have an idea of cameras. I mean, when you go into photography, there's 3 things that you need to know. You need to know the aperture, you need to know the ISO, you need to know your shutter speed. And on a lot of these cheap equipment, all of that's automatic. You can't even touch the settings. So the programming tries to do everything for you, and you can get some really dumb effects out of it. And a lot of times people think that, oh, I caught a ghost. No, you have a cheap camera.
And I also cannot stand when people turn the flash off. Please stop doing that. Just don't do it, because that creates confusion, because most people will send me a photo, and as soon as I open it, I realize, all right, the flash didn't go off. It's a long exposure.
Right.
They have streaks. They have transparent people, which are team members. don't turn the flash off. Just keep it on. There's no reason not to have a flash.
Right. Because I do have a few photographs that I have put out, and I don't know what the hell is in them. And of course, I don't say, "Oh, it's a spook, a specter, whatever." I just put on there. I have no idea what it is, and then see, because this way everybody out there can fill me in on what they think it might be.
Right.
It could be, dust. It could be, fog. Who the hell knows? Oh no!
Wow.
I'm not going to say too much because this is your guys' time, not mine. Love what's being talked about here. Yeah, like just talking about the whole thing with setting up lights and filming. It has a huge impact. I mean, you're going to get a lot of dust orbs just from your cell phone because of how close the flash is to the lens. Whereas if I take an external source of light, put it away from the lens, guess what happens? No more ghosts. Ghosts are gone.
Right.
And please do not send me any footage or videos.
Send it all to Joe. Everything.
Let me fix this because that was something people would do to me all the time. And I would explain, like, so nice about it, explain what's going on. If I was able to recreate it and give an example, I would do that. And then people would act like I kicked their dog or something. You weren't there. You don't know what you're talking about. It's like, then why did you send this to me? Why did you ask me? Why?
Yeah.
Well, we know why. Because it went against what they believe. It went against what they were hoping it to be. You can't really win.
It's almost like a religion with some people.
I think, and just my opinion, I think a lot of it is there are people who want to be a part of something so bad that they will accept almost anything as having some sort of experience just to sort of fit in. I think that plays a lot into this whole thing too.
And it comes to like peer pressure to build on that. It's definitely peer pressure because you look around and you see a group of people that you want to be a part of, that they're all agreeing with stuff and they're like, yeah, they're patting each other on the back and you want to be a part of that. So you kind of push aside your own opinion or your morals and you say, yes, you accept what they're saying without question and you get into it. And it's much harder for someone to say, well, no, I disagree. And because there's a couple things. One, you won't be accepted. And two, most of the people that you say that to will take offense to it personally. And it becomes like, well, why you crapping on my belief here? And you have to go into a debate, which is not like a friendly debate. And, or if they don't even want to talk to you, if you say something like, I disagree and don't really explain why, or you start to explain why, some people might just shun you right from the start. So, yeah, I get it.
And the excuses too, when we went to the Bel Air house, what did I do with the spirit box? I threw it in 2 Faraday bags, right? Let's kill the one thing that the radio frequencies, nothing but static, nothing came through. When talking about that to some other people, they're like, well, will you just cut them off? Now they can't. Here's the excuse. Because they can't somehow. How do I want to put this? How was it put, actually? Because it was kind of weird how it was put to me anyways, because we blocked any frequencies going to that radio. None of the stations were coming through. All of a sudden, we killed contact or a way for spirits to contact through the radio. So you have these really weird excuses, which don't make sense because I'm like, a ghost can walk through walls, can do all kinds of crazy stuff, defy all physics, all logics. But a Faraday bag's going to keep them from communicating?
It's magic, Joe.
How does that work?
Magic. Stop shitting on my parade. But you're right. You're right. It's like all of a sudden, like, did we just establish that ghosts can only vocalize via RF? Like, is that what you're trying to say? And if that's what you're trying to say now, because we put it in the Faraday bag and it doesn't work, now we have to actually isolate that and prove that. But that's not what they want to do. They want to just say it comes through the radio, and because you blocked it, Joe,
Yep.
with your magic bags,
Yep.
you're the bad person. You're
Yep.
not teaching them anything. You're not demonstrating anything like science. You are crapping all over their New Year's Eve parade and not letting them ghost
Pretty
hunt.
much.
You know,
Evil man.
don't be throwing your Dream Crusher title at me, buddy. You can keep that. I don't
You know,
want
actually, I think Joe is the only person I've seen use the Faraday bag.
it. Now, Nightmare Nation, they have used Faraday
Okay.
bags before I did. Now, I had thought about it, but I never did it. I'm going to blame laziness on that. I did build a small Faraday box, and it just looked really stupid. And I'm like, I can't, like, this is dumb. So I found out what kind of bags they were using because it seemed to have worked. And the only difference was I threw the radio in 2 bags rather than 1. I believe so. I think they only used 1. So yeah, it has been done before by Nightmare Nation, but I don't know of anybody else, to be honest. Maybe Kenny has.
I've only seen you use it. I have a box. I built a large box because somebody had one of those guitar amp pieces of crap spirit boxes, and I wanted a box big enough to fit that in, which nothing came through after it was in the box. And I also have a set of bags too. But otherwise, no, I haven't seen anyone else do it. And then if anyone is mad about this, hashtag blame Joe Vitale.
No. Blame Nightmare Nation. I'll send this one on Nightmare
There
Nation.
you go. You can blame it on them.
And my goal when I go to these places, I don't go there like, oh, I'm going to capture stuff. Oh, I'm going to can't wait. Oh, what am I going to get? I go there and I'm like, fuck, nothing's going to happen.
So, real quick, we went, what was the Monroe House?
Mm-hmm.
We showed up, and Joe was hyping this place up before, like, weeks coming up to it. As soon as we get in there, I walk into the first room, and Joe's like, nothing's going to fucking happen. Kenny's here. Complete opposite. Reversal. Right away. I'm like,
Well, hold on now. I wasn't hyping it up all that
Yes,
much.
you were.
I was saying, here's what I've experienced. Here's what other people experience. Here are the rumors. Here's the truth. You did research on it. I had done research as well. So we kind of like traded, research and stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, like going, at some point I will be going back, and I'm going to be like, nothing's going to fucking happen. Because that's what I say everywhere I go. Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen.
But I'm
It
going.
was just so funny. It was funny. Like, it didn't skip a beat. Just like, nothing's going to fucking happen.
That's
Nothing's
it.
going to happen.
They know he's here.
And but when I go, first off, you hear the stories, the claims. I go to see if I experience any of that stuff. I do check the claims, and I mean, come on, a lot of the stuff it's kind of obvious what has happened. Oh, the store keeps closing, or keep hearing this sound, and you figure it out. And even putting that information out there, it falls on deaf ears, because then, somebody else goes, a week or 2 later, like, oh, we had this happen. It's like, yeah, I know. And here's what I found out. And then nothing. Sometimes my comment gets deleted.
But you know what? I don't think we should. I don't know how to say this. Even though we put out information that may explain and or debunk a claim, and maybe it gets overshadowed by the next popular YouTube channel that gets out, it shouldn't be a reason to get discouraged. Like, we should still keep pumping it out, keep doing everything that we can,
Right.
get good, accurate information out there, no matter what, because it will get out there. Eventually, people will come across it. I mean, I did an article on the Blackwell Ghost, the first one. There's a whole bunch of those they're not documentaries, they're films that came out as like a real documentary, and that was years. That's probably like 8 or 9 years ago now, and I'm still getting emails of people just, hey, I just came across your article, and they had a question, and I'm like, this is like 8, 9, 10 years later, and I'm still getting people finding it or discovering it. So keep putting out the content, because
Right.
people are finding it.
Right. And, with certain other situation that's been going on, I, too, from time to time, have gotten, messages from people, hey, what's going on here? And it's like, let me point you in the right direction. So, yeah, I do know that there are people who will eventually run into whatever it is I put out there. But, it definitely does get overshadowed by all the bigger YouTube channels, or just somebody else who may have more weight behind them. And I'm not discouraged by it. It's just, it kind of sucks because you put something out there and it gets overshadowed by so many things.
Right.
Well, by the entertainers.
Yeah.
It's they're going to go for that before they're going to go for anything that we put out, because we're trying to do the education part. And like you said, most of them are hobbyists, so they're not looking for education. They're looking for the fanfare and
Right.
the Hollywood flair and flash.
With all the videos with their thumbnails of O faces all over. I hate those things.
Yeah.
Oh, like.
And there, Friday's got it. It's good.
Every time I see that, in my brain I hear
it's
Oh,
so
God.
terrible.
See, Don says, I never get discouraged by YouTubers because they get it wrong so often and they don't do their research, follow a false narrative, etc. Yeah.
and I'll jump on this real quick too. We can't always, to a certain point, yes, we can point at these YouTubers, but a lot of the information that they are getting does come from owners of these locations, and they're sold to these YouTubers very well. Well, we got documentation of this, here's that, here's a picture of this, blah, 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 blah. And it makes a great story, not only for the location, but for their content. So they're just going to run with what they're told. And then when somebody comes back and says, none of that's true, well, that's what the owners told us. Well, why didn't you do the research? Insert whatever excuse as to why they didn't.
Right.
I don't have anything against Colin, but he had done this video, whatever, on Monroe House. And he's like, oh, I did research. I'm like, oh, really? Don was the one who actually seen this. And he started saying, oh, this happened, that happened. Oh, there's a baby buried in the crawl space. I'm like, yeah, no, you just did not absolutely do any kind of research. You got this stuff somewhere randomly on the internet. None of this is true. Dawn said something, and one of their moderators blocked her.
Ah, jeez.
And Dawn wasn't mean or anything like that. She's like, hey, no, that's not true.
Well, she's just being honest.
You're mean. You
Yeah.
said I was lying. You said I wasn't true. You're a mean person.
I'm being bullied.
But, again, yeah, you can, throw blame at content creators. But again, most of their information that they're getting are coming from these locations. There's locations that I've been to where, like, oh, it's just some random ghost or whatever. And then a couple of years later, here comes these YouTubers going to the same location. Demons, demons, demons. Like, where the hell are they getting this
couldn't
demon stuff? And
stand
come to
that.
find out, it's a new owner throwing the information out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and like the Sam and Colby video about the Smurl house, like that was, I feel the same way. Like they made a major mistake. They were at the wrong house. All right, which is a big mistake.
Okay, wait, clarify that. They were at the right house, wrong side.
So you can say that, but it's still the wrong house. It's two separate houses.
Yeah, but same roof.
So if say we go to a row home, does it mean like it's the same roof because you have like 8 or 10 houses that are all connected?
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
Right.
but like some people are like, "Oh, it's the same house." It's
It's
yes, it's the same house,
it's a duplex, but they're on the wrong side.
Right.
Right.
Same building, different
Same building,
units.
wrong
Right.
side. Okay,
Yeah,
but
exactly, Laura.
I can't say that they did that deliberately. Like they knew they were on the wrong house and they were doing it anyway, or if they were under false information provided by the owner, because several weeks before that aired, and actually like a week after they were there, because I was there a week after they filmed that, and I talked to a former renter of that side, and she swore up and down that that's where everything happened. That's where the family lived. Their parents lived on the other side, just like Sam and Colby had mentioned on the show, on their video. I had to show her the documents, the records that I had that demonstrated that it was backwards. So she might have gotten information from the landlord, because the landlord owns both sides. He owns the duplex, so they might have gotten the wrong information. I mean, it was still a horrible video. It was still a shit show, but I can't say that they did it deliberately, going to the wrong side. And that's, I think that goes to your point, Joe. It's not always the content creators that are responsible for giving you this information. They're responsible for passing it along, because
Right.
it would have taken 5 minutes to verify it.
Right.
Right.
Actually, like 5 seconds, because they actually posted a picture in their video of the family in front of the door that says 3:30, and then they went into 3:28 instead.
Oh, jeez.
So if they only looked at their own shit.
Right. Whoops, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wisdom said, what if it was all one house at one time? Would that not justify it?
Well, I mean, I can say that that's not how they're built. The duplexes are built as duplexes, so
Right.
they are separate houses. I live, because we call them a twin too. So I lived in a twin before I moved up here to Buffalo. So I had a wall between, like I had my own side of the house, and then they had their own side, and I mean it was a twin, but it's
Right. Like,
separate.
I know it's not unique here, but there's also like proper homes that ended up turning into like duplexes or triplexes and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that house was ever set up just as a home. I think all of those homes may be on that street, or most of them, I think.
So they're not all the same. They're not all block homes, but going up and down the block, they don't look all the same like that. So
but what I'm saying is, I think maybe a lot of them, I shouldn't say all of them, but I think a lot of them on that street may be duplexes.
there's a few, yeah. I think more like that one side. If you cross the street, there was a lot of single homes. So yeah, there's a mix. But yeah, I mean, it's one of them things. I guess the point is, like, you can't always blame the content creators. They should do their research. They should fact check, but that's not what these creators are. Like, these people are entertainers. They
Right.
clicks and views. That's all they care about. So I don't expect them to do proper research. Kenny from the block.
Yeah, Kenny from
Oh, I grew up, I had a row home. There were like 15 houses all connected.
Kenny from the hood.
Yeah, that's right. I grew up in Kensington in Philly, yo.
Oh,
You
watch
have
out.
another
That's Kenny over
blaring problem with this, though. There is a blaring problem with it. It's one building, but is the ghost going to say, "No, I'm haunting this side. I'm not going through that wall. I'm not
Exactly.
haunting over there. I can hear you calling to Joe put up Faraday cloth. I ain't coming over there."
Well, the demon lives on the one side, and then
Well, eventually, I did read in an article from '86 that Ed Warren is quoted saying that they need a team of exorcists because the demon would jump from house to house. It wasn't just one side or the other. Apparently, it was going to the neighbors because I guess the neighbors realized that there was a book deal and a movie deal, so they wanted to cash in. So several of the neighbors were saying, "Yeah, we have activity too." So Ed's excuse was, "We need a team of exorcists to be in all these different houses at the same time, so it wouldn't have any place to hide."
Well, I mean, it could just go to the next town over.
It could go to the bar. There's a bar.
I
right down the
want
street.
to
Right. I mean,
go to the bar.
Hang out, have a couple shots. Like, oh yeah, they're done. All right, I
Back
can
all liquored up and mess with everybody.
stumbling down the sidewalk. Just a demon trying to get back to my home.
this ain't your house. You're drunk.
Right.
Your house
Right.
is down the
I'm
street.
gonna possess you. Woo-hoo.
What is that? In Porky's, the two cops, the guy from the cemetery, and the guy just butt ass naked jumps out in front of the police cops. Boogie boogie.
Okay, right. I do remember that.
There's your demon, right there.
Now, see, Leanne has a good question because I've wondered this myself. Why? She goes, "Yeah, my thoughts. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Why is only half of 30 East Drive haunted?
Actually, both
Is it?
families claim to have experienced things. I'm not sure why the movie itself only focused on that one side, but if you watch the made-for-TV movie and the book, both.
This is 30 East Drive, not 330 Chase.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I get it though. Yeah, so if we're talking about the Smurl, so 30 East Drive, that's the one in the UK. That's a
Right.
different area, but I get it. Like,
Thank
why
you,
is only
Sage.
one half? And I would say the other half, the people just didn't want to be bothered. I would guess for the
Good
Smurl
question.
case,
Good question.
the parents/grandparents did claim some experiences, and I have a transcript because the founder of CFI had a phone call with Mary Smurl, and she spoke about everything that was happening. And when you read the transcript, a lot of it is just normal stuff that she misinterpreted.
Wow.
And it's a shame because she was a very elderly lady at the time, and some of the stuff, when you read the transcript, you can apply it to elderly people and the accidents and stuff that happened with people like of those age, and they couldn't get around as well. They did see some stuff, but it was extremely vague what they saw, and at least coming directly from Mary. But I don't know why if one half of a house or a block or one slice of a row home, a block of row homes claims to be haunted, I would look at the people. That would be my first instinct. Look at the people and the behavior and what's going on.
Right.
Right.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sage. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Any questions, guys? Any more questions? Just spit them out there if you can. My other question would be, if you're going to attack investigations from a scientific manner, what would you bring to be on that investigation? What would you guys bring?
Ooh. Well, first thing I would say is I wouldn't use the word attack. I would say critique, because that's just sounds better. It sounds nicer. But if you mean like attack an investigation, like attack a claim, like
Well, just,
that what you mean?
what would you bring as just, you're going to do this investigation. What type of equipment would you bring to collect your data to prove?
Okay, so basically the question is, hey, we need to change this tire. Let's attack it, and literally change the
Right.
tire, not
Yeah.
attack it.
It depends on the claim. It really does. It's not like I bring. Well, that would be false. I do bring pretty much everything that I have with me, just in case. But it depends on what they're claiming, and then I base any equipment, if any, I bring on what they're claiming. So, if they're claiming that they're hearing stuff, I might not bring an EMF meter per se, because, well, first, I don't think they're doing anything at all. But I have to get the details of what are they hearing, where are they hearing it, and then plan according to that. So it'll be different each time.
How about you, Friday, Joe? What do you guys?
Well, I was going to say, I've seen Kenny in action, and he takes a shit ton of pictures, as he should. Notes, asks a lot of questions, especially to the owners, which is, whatever.
Right.
Because also asking questions does give you an insight on the owner, where their headspace is regarding,
Right.
The paranormal, learning more about the house and stuff like that. For me, look, I can't exactly do anything scientifically in regards to the paranormal, because that kind of equipment just really does not exist. I mean, okay, EMF meter, okay, but it doesn't tell me anything. None of this stuff tells me anything. I can't validate, anything. If a device goes off, okay, whatever, but doesn't tell it. Was it a ghost, or what was it? The way I like to do things, listen to the history from the source, not from anybody else, but from the source. Hear the claims, look into the claims, and honestly just see if I or we experience what people are claiming that they are experiencing, and just setting up multiple digital recorders, not cheap ones, and trying to place as many cameras as I possibly can. We had more cameras in the Monroe house than there was rooms in the Monroe house when
That's all right.
I had went. It does kind of bother me a little bit when people are like, oh, well, science, we do science and paranormal. It's like, really? But do we?
Sure, you know what science is.
Their version of it.
Look, I can cook, but that doesn't make me a chef.
Yeah.
You might employ a scientific method, maybe, but that's not really science.
And there's no time. We don't have that kind of time or money to, quite honestly, do anything, proper. We can only do as much as we can with the small amount of time we have.
Right. I mean, I will say that I do have some standard equipment that I bring, and that's usually, like Joe mentioned, my camera. I take a lot of pictures. I try to take a video walkthrough of the whole area. I do bring a 360 camera, and I try to use that as long as the battery holds out, because that gives you a different perspective of everything. I do bring a notebook and pens and highlighters, and I sketch out like rooms where equipment is, or where like cabinets and furniture and stuff is. I take measuring tape with me, because I usually measure like air gaps in windows, or the length of hallway, especially if there's a claim that says I saw a ghost down the end of the hall and I was at the other end of the hall. I'd like to know how long that hallway is, just to have an idea, because witnessing something from 5 feet away is different from 20 feet away. You don't get the best detail. I also bring a spirit level, who, unlike Beardo, I know how to use. And that's an insight. But I use a spirit level in order to check doors and floors and stairs, that kind of stuff. And then I usually bring I bring a lot with me. I usually don't use all of it, but I bring a lot. I bring like evidence bags and collection devices just in case there's like physical evidence that's left over, which I've never used because there's never physical evidence that's left over, which sucks because that'd be cool. I'd love some real slime. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I think that's about it for the standard equipment, and then everything else is just depends on the claim.
And real quick, we were talking about sound earlier, the bridge sound.
Yeah.
Again, Kenny, Jeff, and I, Michael was there with us too. Monroe House. There was a sound in the room with us, and the way that sound traveled, I honestly thought that sound came from the hallway outside of the room, when in fact it did not. And that is something to think about, your surroundings and how set up and where a sound may occur can really like travel in ways that you just don't even think about.
That was the one with Jeff made, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So understand that we're in a room, okay? We're in a bedroom. Joe is standing in the doorway, or practically in the doorway. I think you were like.
I was almost center of the room, but closer to the doorway.
Yeah, and Jeff is on one side of the room. Inside, okay, he makes a sound with a tripod. I think he moved his tripod and it hit the floor, and that sound went past Joe out the doorway, and he heard it from behind him. So, and because we did it again and confirmed this, so that experience alone demonstrates the importance of make sure you know what you heard and recreate whenever possible. And like Jeff did, if you make the sound, own up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Don't try to hide it. Don't think, oh shit, I just messed up, and they think it's a ghost.
And Jeff did immediately. As soon as I said something, Jeff's like, that was me. And I'm like, nah, I heard it out there.
Right.
Oh no. And then we realized what had happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also, I think it's very important that you have to understand, how sound does travel and what it can travel through. And so, cause you could debunk so much better, like you guys just said, Jeff made the noise, but then Joe thought it come from another way. So that's really important to understand how sound works. Yeah.
It happens to Dawn and I when we go to places. Dawn hears something completely different than I do in a completely different direction than I do. And then I go to my video or my digital recorders and I'm like, well, that was none of that shit we heard, or I was right, or you were right.
Yep.
Cool.
Dragon has a question. Dragon says, Kenny, how do you feel about using an EDI plus type meters that record vibration, atmospheric pressure changes, etc., and leaving them running?
So the issue is that they only record one at a time. They don't record all of these settings at the same time. You pick which one, and it does have a data logger in it if you put an SD card in it. I have two of them, and I've played with them. I find them to be a little overly sensitive. The EMF is still single axis, so it's not getting an accurate reading. The vibration is extremely sensitive, and it doesn't really give me a measurement. It just gives me like a hit. So I'm not too keen on that. The pressure changes, it will give a reading on that. I haven't tested that fully yet, but I mean, again, it comes back to you can only use one reading at a time, so you would need 3 or 4 of them just to start. And then
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you go through, you have to pick which mode. So that kind of limits what you can do with it. So if you only have one, you're kind of screwed. You have to pick one reading and just go with that.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's a start. It's a good start, especially with the data logging. But I think it only logs 10 samples per second, which is kind of low. You definitely need more like 50 or 100 samples per second in order to get a really good graph reading. But it's a start. Yeah, that's it.
And good luck trying to find an EDI plus.
Let's
I'll sell you
see
one.
here.
$1 million.
Yeah, $1 million. I agree
No.
with Wiz right here, where he says also people don't document their evidence well. I agree with you because everybody says, okay, well, the camera caught it.
Yeah.
You know, the camera, it doesn't see everything, doesn't catch everything. And so I love it when people do old school, like when Kenny said, you make notes. Excuse me, you know, you write down everything and document all of your, you know, your data. I think pen and paper is the best way to go.
Well, video cameras do have a timestamp, and a lot of people don't set those up.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I would do that. Yeah, the times, locations, how many people are there, who was in the room with you, the rest of the data that you can collect. You know, you take readings from all the devices that you would have, except for the like shitty ones that are marketed directly to ghost hunters. Don't bother with them. But what people are doing, if anything's noted outside, you have to be in that moment. And I always stress, like, if something happens and somebody else is reading notes that I took, I want to put them in that moment. They have to know every single thing. They need to read an entire page, at least, of notes of that one event so they understand the scene. And that's just the scene. And then what happened, what I experienced, what I saw, before I talk to anyone else, because I don't want to be influenced by anyone else that was there. Because maybe Joe was in a different room next to it and he heard or experienced something different. I don't want to know what he experienced until I get to write it down, because then whatever he tells me is going to be in my head, and I don't want to think about his experience while I'm writing down my experience.
Exactly. Okay, let's see. Steph has a question. Oh, we did that one. Have you guys ever checked inside the air ducts and vents to see if there were any devices set there to possibly trick you?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what?
Uh,
I'll give this example. Monroe House. Remember, it was a psychic lady who claimed that there was a speaker in the wall of the Monroe House making noises.
We
Not a very
checked.
good psychic.
I checked. I tore things apart that I was allowed to, but just to check. Well, you got to ask permission. But I've also been in a place that did have speakers in the basement set up to play sounds for people. So you gotta. And I have a what is that? Like a snake cam. It's a telescoping cam. It's a tiny. It's probably about a 1/4 inch.
Borehole
The
cam.
lens. Yeah. And I use that. I stick it in the vents. I put it
holy
anywhere.
crow, man! Kenny special ops here.
Oh shit! Yeah, you gotta take a look.
Yeah, I mean, there was a situation where I had to place devices near security cameras that had two-way audio because of some stuff that was going on. That was last year. I mean, so yes, I absolutely. If I get suspicious or if I'm told something by others, yes, I'm going to look into that. But we have to remember too that, and I will say, Ashmore Estates. Now, somebody tried to accuse Ashmore Estates of having that place rigged up, and then come to find out what he was complaining about was the security cameras, which don't have any audio. It doesn't carry audio one way or another. But he was saying that it was setting off the devices and that the owner knew this or whatever, and he's got it rigged. And I'm like, well, that's your fault. The owner has every right to have security cameras in his building. every right to.
Right.
It's your job to make sure that if you're going to use devices, you put those devices in a place where that's not going to get interfered with.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's what it is. You've got to worry about all of that stuff, and a lot of people don't take that in consideration. Now, as far as like, if you go out and you're going to do an investigation Friday, let's get your input. What would you bring with you? How would you go about doing that investigation from an electronics guy's point of view?
Disclaimer: I haven't actually done an investigation in 15 years. Most of
You're
what I've been
saving
doing
yourself
lately
money.
has been a lot. If I was going to go out and do an investigation, and this is what we talked about earlier, there's two ways to look at it. You can take the claim that you're given and bring anything that might be related to discovering the truth about that, or you can do what a technician might do: bring all of your tools and then see what you're going to need once you're there. So, I mean, same coin, which side do you want it to land on?
Right. What would be actually I'm curious, what would be the first thing that you would do at a location?
Well, am I hunting or investigating?
We'll go with investigating.
Okay, investigating. I want to know what the claim is. Let's take, for instance, somebody says, well, I'm hearing footsteps. Okay. Let's take some audio. Let's take some motion sensor. Let's take cameras, mainly because if you have like a water hammering issue with the mouse, that can sound like footsteps. Let's take a black light up in the attic and see if you have rodents living up there, because that can make it sound like footsteps. There's a lot of facets to look at here. But you can't set your REM pod up there and wait for it to go off and, oh well, yeah, you got a demon walking up here. No, you got to think away from that. Got to think outside the box. But personally, it would depend on the claim heavily. And from there, I would look in the toolbox and see what I would need to figure it out, because most of the time it can be explained easily.
Right.
My least favorite claim that I hear a lot of is, oh, yeah, when we do the Estes method, we get things that come through. And I'm like, no, because now I have to do this. Well, actually, Dawn does. I
make Dawn do it.
now I got to do it.
I have actually never done that. I can't stand the noise.
Side guy loves it. Like, he is like, when we went to Harriman Hospital, he was like, "Oh, we're gonna do the Estes method. Are we gonna do the spirit box?" I mean, he was up our asses. I think that might be why Jason Haas and his crew left early.
Jeez.
Teasing.
I don't know. Honestly, what do you guys think about that method?
Terrible.
Okay.
It's terrible. It comes
Waste
down
of
to
time.
like if you listen to radio stations, which people are doing with their ghost or spirit boxes already, you're getting in radio stations. You're hearing commercials and music and news, which is going to have all the words that you're going to want to hear. Now you're adding a layer of interpretation that is very narrow, because you have one person that's listening through headphones, and in some cases they can hear the questions. Sometimes they can't, but sometimes they can. Depends on how much hair they have, because I don't care if you're using noise canceling headphones. If you have a lot of hair and you put it over top, there's gaps. You're going to hear stuff.
It's not hard to fake, though. Earbuds.
Yeah. I mean, you can...
Headphones. You don't see it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna hear these voices, you're gonna hear these noises, and it's not going to stop. You're just going to interpret the way you are. I mean, when I sat down and did it, I hated it. But besides hating it immensely, I was looking for words, because that's what you're doing. You're trying to look for words. And I not only did I think at the Monroe House, I not only called out words that I heard, but I think I was calling out like, oh, this is Johnny Cash. You know?
That was Bel Air House.
Bel Air. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
We didn't do that at.
Oh yeah.
I was not going to be tortured by that, or I didn't want anybody else to be.
But you are listening for stuff, so you're going to hear it, and you're going to pick out something that's recognizable, or at least that you think is recognizable, and then you're blurting it out. But there's nothing to back it up to say, hey, is that actually what was on that station? You know, or is that actually what you heard come through from the radio? What they need to do is set up a splitter so that you have the person on the headphones. I mean, honestly, first of all, just don't do it. Stop. It's just
that's a great idea, and I'm going to at some point get a splitter. That is a great, even though I don't do it very often. That's a great idea.
Put a splitter in it and run one side to the headphones, the other side to a recorder, so that we can all listen to it and timestamp it.
Right.
You know, as soon as you start, timestamp it so that you can go to the exact seconds and say, all right, this is what was playing. This is what came through.
There you go.
That's awesome. I have splitters. I just never brought them because I didn't think of this until recently. So I'm going to bring them now.
I think, we're talking paranormal. Sure. Is it possible? I think there is that possibility, but come on. It's a radio. It's going through frequencies. You're going to get radio stations. Everything that you just said there, Kenny. And I don't know what happened, but it used to not be like this. It used to be you're not listening for radio stations. You're listening to something. You're supposed to focus on something completely different other than the radio stations. But now there's this thing where, oh, well, it's the spirits using, the radio stations or what's coming through the radio to put out their message. And it's like, but how the hell would a ghost even know that? How? How is that possible?
Right.
Oh, wait, here in like 30 seconds, this announcer is going to say this. That's what I need to say.
Right. There was a few people mentioned I was on a news segment. I was on the ABC News recently, and one of the questions that I had, there was a ghost hunting team. It was two ladies, and I was on a Zoom call reviewing something they did for that same program like weeks ago, and it came up with the Ovilus. They had the Ovilus out, and we got into some questions because it said something. They interpreted it a different way, and I was like, all right, so let me ask you this. You believe that a ghost can make this spit out words? Yes. Do you know how to make this spit out words? No. Then why do you expect a ghost to know? Like, is there some magical transition where they get this, knowledge that we don't have? Maybe. I don't know. But we have to show that. If you can't manipulate the device to make it say something, just like these radios, we can't predict what's going to be said unless we know the commercial. We know in like 10 seconds it's going to say this. We can't predict it. We can't make the radio say certain things. So don't expect an unknown, unproved entity to be able to do something like that.
What I like to, I've also heard people saying that they would take the antennas off.
That doesn't matter. You can take the antenna off all day. Something's going to come through.
Right.
And that's not like I've explained that so many times to people. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if like plugging in headphones can act as an antenna, plugging in an external speaker can act like an antenna.
Right.
I learned that on accident.
James, you had a good point there in the private chat. You should bring that up.
Yeah, bring it up.
Bring it up.
Well, is it?
Bring it up.
It's an issue in not just with the SS method or AVP. It's anytime you're sitting there asking questions. If the question is just so open-ended, anything will answer it. Any kind of noise, and I've seen this straight up. They'll get some kind of pareidolia or something, a grunt, and they'll say, "Well, that was a name." They were answering my question. What's your name? Well, any noise can, answer that question. So these SS methods and all that, they're flawed from the get-go just from the questions. If you want to trip it up, ask very specific questions. Okay, what's in my pocket and what color is it?
Right.
Be very
There you
specific.
go.
And that's something that I also say too, like doing that, like be specific. Even doing an EVP session, always try to be specific. Not just. And Kenny also does this as well. Hey, if you're here with us, knock on something. Well, great, because now if a sound's coming from like somewhere far away and we still hear it, then it's gonna be like, ooh, it made a sound. It's
Right.
here with us. No,
Mhm.
be specific. Be in close proximity of where you're investigating when you're doing EVP sessions. So it's like you're in a room. Okay, if you're here with us, knock on that door.
I like to add something saying like, hey, if you're here with us, can you read that to me?
Right.
And that's it. Like, because I usually pick elephant is my go-to word, but pick a word that's not common. You're not going to commonly hear or
Yep.
expect to hear, and just hold it up. Don't say it. Don't repeat it.
And he's done that. He has done that. He's written down, I think, 5 words or something like that.
Yeah,
And
and,
we
yeah,
have-
he says on a piece of paper he has in his pocket. Yep. Cree wants to know, what about cuss words that come out and they are not connected to satellite radio? You are not allowed to cuss on the radio.
So it depends on which word you're talking about, because we do hear damn, and once in a while shit gets through. But you're also, it's probably not cuss words that you're hearing. You're hearing parts of words. So you're hearing sounds and parts of words as it goes through the stations that come through that we interpret as cuss words. So unless you actually have a full recording of what's going on, like you have a recording of someone saying dropping an F-bomb, and then you have a video of it or watching everything, we need everything covered. I can't take someone's word that they heard cuss words. Maybe they did, but it's probably their interpretation of a cuss word. I haven't come across any recording that had cuss words in it that was from like a public radio kind of thing.
Right. Dawn is saying that, that was her weird experience with the Estes, was excessive cursing.
What are you listening to?
I did
Joe just patching in, talking dirty.
This was before me. So this was before me. So I've had this happen at the Benton farmhouse. I was investigating with Eric, and one of the claims is that people are getting something that's coming through that is we'll just say very homophobic and using some pretty bad words that surround the word homophobic, we'll just say. And I mean, something was calling me a fairy, and then next thing I know, it's dropping the 3-letter derogatory name. I won't say. And a lot of other stuff. And I'm like, there's no way this is happening. And we recorded it. I wish I had the footage, but one of my favorite persons in the whole wide world, I think Kenny knows who I'm talking about, has that footage and has done nothing with it. And I could have done something really cool with that stuff. And I guess that'll never see the light of day. So I've had stuff like that happen. Now, was it a ghost? I don't know, but it was just interesting because those were the claims and it was happening. Or we believe it was happening. I can't say it was happening. We believe it was happening. Or at least, well, I mean, a couple people were like, oh no, it's happening. Like literally believe it happened. I'm just like, I believe it happened, but I don't know. something happened. Like,
Right.
Right. Yeah, Sherry says with satellite radio, I'm in New York and I listen to the Welsh radio and their FCC is different than ours. Yeah, a lot of different places have different rules and they're allowed to swear and you can't get away with that here. Not, really bad swear words, but my question is also for you guys, we're talking now about sound and stuff like that. How do you explain if somebody has the experience that they've actually heard their name said in their ear?
oh, I know about this. Okay, so a lot of times when that happens, is when people are just going to bed. There's a thing called boom syndrome. So it's a real thing. A lot of people lay in bed and they swear they heard like a gunshot, like a shotgun going off, but they actually didn't. But people also, say that they have heard like their names being said. And most of the time it's, when they're in the process of going to sleep. Now, there are people who do have that happen to them while they're just out and about. It's still sort of the same thing. The thing is I'm not going to sit there and say that's exactly what it was when I've experienced things like with other people at a location and I've heard what sounded like my name being called and everybody else like, hey, did you hear that? Or we heard somebody else's name being called. But that is an explanation. Boom syndrome. It's such a weird name. And
Yeah, it is.
that does
think-
happen to me.
We are so used to hearing our name called and responding that when we're in different scenarios, like what Joe described, like he heard
Stress.
something that he thought was his name, but then other people heard something different. And it's just, again, it's interpretation and how we interpret it. And it may sound similar to his name and he responds to it. And maybe he didn't actually hear his name, but it was so similar that to him, his process, his microsecond processing said, I think that was my name. And he responded as we normally do. But examples of like when we're in the shower or if we're in a busy environment and there's noise and we might hear what we believe is our name, that could be-
Cocktail ghost.
yeah, white noise. It's a lot of noise being generated. You're going to hear something like that. And that audio pareidolia comes up. We don't actually hear our name, but we hear something similar to it. And I know like Cree made a comment about like audio pareidolia being overused. And I mean, I can say the same thing about people claiming these voices are ghosts. I think that's overused. And it's a good fallback, not because it's an easy thing to say, hey, maybe people are just hearing things and
Right.
hearing patterns. It really does happen. And we've shown this. What Green Needle, Brainstorm,
Yep.
like right there, that's audio pareidolia. And it happens to all of us. You play that, if you're thinking or reading, you're hearing what's coming up. But when you switch it, it changes. It's the same exact sound. So these things, and there's plenty of examples where you can get audio that sounds like human speech, but it's not. It's an instrument. It's vibration. It is some kind of musical instrument that's playing, or a computer program that's spitting out code that sounds like human speech, and it's pretty cool. But
Right.
there's a lot of things in nature that can mimic this. And we just take that into account.
But I've had this happen where I'm laying in bed and then I hear what sounded like my ex-wife going, "Hey, Joe, wake up." And I'm like, what the hell? Like, oh my God. But I didn't actually hear with my own ears. It was my brain. But for whatever reason, my brain made me think, well, that's a weird way to say things. Anyways, that I heard, like physically heard it, that it wasn't in my head, when in fact it actually was.
Right.
And that's the same thing. It's boom syndrome, but it doesn't necessarily pertain to hearing like these boom sounds in your brain. I believe it's called boom syndrome. But it's a weird thing.
You
Yeah,
have to look that up because the reason I bring it up is because I've had that happen to me a few times. But it's while I'm walking around the house or I've been out somewhere where I've actually heard the whisper of my name in my ear. It's happened in my own house a few times.
It sounds like Kenny's over there looking this up.
We're gonna look it up and find out. Hey, Crow, welcome.
So boom syndrome is not a thing.
It's not a thing. All right, what is it called
Not-
then? Because that's
I'm trying to find it.
okay. Because I was
Oh, here it is. Exploding head syndrome. I
okay.
like that better.
Okay.
There where my hair's flatter today.
Okay, boom syndrome. That's. I think boom syndrome would be more.
I agree.
Not
But
exploding head.
Dude, this is cool. When people think they hear a boom, it's often called exploding head syndrome if it happens while falling asleep or waking up. If the sound seems to come from outside, it could be a phenomenon like skyquake, which is a loud, unexplained boom from the sky. But yeah, the actual term is exploding head syndrome. I did not know that. That is awesome. I'm going to explore this more.
We
Wow.
all just learned something
I
interesting.
kind of sort of taught Kenny something new, guys.
There you
Oh, shit.
go.
Yeah, I thought it was called boom syndrome. Exploding head syndrome. Just
Oops.
sounds
Sounds so
you're just
dangerous.
randomly walking around and they're fucking.
It sounds cooler.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's a little too aggressive. So, you hear what happened to Bill? Yeah, he had exploding head syndrome.
What's that? You think you heard a ghost? Nope, it was boom syndrome.
Do they make pills for it?
Oh God, it's funny. Put a helmet on, hold it together.
Holy shit!
Funny.
That's good. That was good. I like that.
Let's see. Wiz says, if ghosts could talk through radio, why did they only get to say one word or short phrases? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so that depends on who's listening. I mean, if you're a big YouTuber, you got to have these lengthy sentences and stuff like that. No, I don't. I'm being a smart ass. Because it's coming from a radio station. That's why they're getting like a few words here and there. But when somebody claims they're getting full-blown sentences, I'm just like, no. Just,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it's like with the psychic mediums. Oh, well, the name starts with a J. Well, if the spirit is telling you it starts with a J, why don't they just tell you the name?
Or the next letter. Just
Yeah.
spell it out.
What the hell?
You're there.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
I mean, like, we have our phones here, right? We can type on our phones. Why not just do something as simple as placing our phones down and opening up, like, Note or whatever the hell you got on your phone and be like, hey, type out your message on this thing.
Voice to text. Let them talk to it.
It's,
Or that too.
Yeah.
I find it interesting at all with all this, like asking a ghost to talk, and over the years looking at the evolution of how we hear their voices. You start out really with people hearing it with their ears. They claim, and that still happens today. So that hasn't changed. People still claim to hear a ghost talk with their ears. So in order to do that, there has to be some kind of vibration in the air through the medium of the air between you and whatever it is. They also have to have something to create that sound, vocal cords to be precise.
Quantum physics.
Shut up, Joe. then think about it. Like, you had the first, like the Rautive voices, which were reel to reel, okay, which translate into cassette tapes and microcassette. But then you also had
Don't forget wax.
you had digital. You went to digital, and they can still talk. And now we have radios that play through the stations, and they can talk through that. It's like every single device that we come up with that we think maybe they can do this. Yeah, they apparently can, but there's still no evidence. It's just the belief that makes the end result what it is.
Right.
There's no data or evidence to support each one, but it keeps jumping. Like, no matter what, the next recording device is going to be able to talk to spirits or have spirits talk to us because we want that to happen. Not that it actually does.
I mean, sometimes I get asked, what do you do if you find out that there are no ghosts. Science has an answer for all of this stuff, and it was just something that wasn't exactly discovered until, we'll just say recently. However the question is put, and I'm fine with that. I am absolutely fine with that. I know a lot of people won't accept that that finding or whatever, that discovery, because belief is extremely strong in this field. But hey, the scientists say, hey, we know why objects seem to move on their own, and here's why, whatever it may be, quantum physics. Now, I'm cool with that. But I also want to see that in action. I want to see them be able to recreate that, because that would be freaking cool.
Right.
Right.
But I don't think we're ever going to get an answer. I think, again, this falls on belief. Either you believe or you don't, and that's that.
Yeah, I agree. I and especially, again, this is going to sound mean, but this community is a community of amateurs. And it's not going to, they don't have the time and the resources to conduct proper research and investigations. So
I'll agree.
it's not going to come out of this community.
Right.
And I mean, have fun. Don't let me discourage you from having fun. Enjoy it. Go out, do your ghost hunts, and enjoy the stories and ghost tours and stuff like that. Enjoy it as a hobby, but don't go in with the expectation that you're going to change the world, because you're not.
Exactly. I do this. I love to do it. I love throwing my money into a dumpster fire. I enjoy standing in places, recording, and then going home and editing basically nothing except a bunch of people in a spooky old wherever it may be. I do not expect. I know I will never, ever be like, oh, I figured it out, guys. It exists or whatever. No, none of us will ever.
And I enjoy that too. Like exactly what you said. I enjoy going out to the places. I enjoy the experience of staying there, of being in a place, a location where people claim so many experiences. It's kind of like filming locations to me. I'm a big filming location nerd. I love going to sets. I love it. I love engaging with the people. I mean, the Bel Air house and the Monroe house, they were 2 times that I got to hang out with Joe. And in Seg, well, I mean, the Bel Air house had Joe had a demonic possession going on there from Burger King.
Yeah, I got hit by the Burger King demon.
That was an experience.
Yeah. But it was the experience of the people. Like, I got to meet the Side Eye guy for the first time. That's when Joe and you and Dawn, like, I met you guys the first time, too, in person. Dawson Toller, who is still, my redheaded stepchild. But I got to meet him the first time. And the other gentleman, Josh. Yeah. Like, we had good conversation throughout the night. And that experience was priceless to me. That was a really good experience. And again, seeing the place and exploring a new town and being involved in it, learning the history and doing the research, even if I'm debunking claims, even if I go through and everything is, we found an explanation that's rooted in science and or historical documentation, there's nothing going on here that we can say is paranormal. It's still a fun and entertaining experience overall.
Even though I was sick as fuck, I still had fun.
Yeah.
All that counts.
I thought Joe was going to die. I was like, here we go. This house is getting a ghost right here.
But you know what? Hey, when you guys were like, all right. But when everybody was ready to investigate, I got my fat ass off that couch and started to investigate.
Oh, Cree
Anytime there's
know,
a break, I was on the couch.
Yeah, Cree wants to know: do you think that the reason no evidence of paranormal has been able to be proven is because science hasn't come up with a way to do this yet?
That's one reason.
I would say, yeah, that's one of the reasons. but scientists also have far bigger things to look into, study, and worry about rather than ghosts.
I would say I agree with you guys what you guys just said. You know, like it's possible. Yes, absolutely, it's possible. Science does not close the door on everything. It leaves it slightly open because
Right.
there might be new information in the future that comes to light that changes everything. But with that, I'm going to add a caveat here and say, stop blaming science for not proving what you want to be real. That's not the job of science. Science is meant to investigate something, to find out what causes it, to find out what it does, how it affects our environment and the world around us. It is not set out to prove or disprove. It is out to understand. That's what
And
it's
to
about.
improve our lives.
Right.
To improve our lives, to make things better, to expand our knowledge, to learn about the world around us and beyond us, you know, which means out in the universe. It's not out, it doesn't discriminate against paranormal. It doesn't say I'm going to prove this or I'm going to disprove it. And that's a common misunderstanding, that science is out to disprove. It is not. First and foremost, the people that are presenting what they claim as evidence should be doing a good job, and they're just not. It's entertainment, it's a hobby. They are not doing science. This community is not doing science. It's right on the fringe. It's trying to,
Right.
but it's not. It's doing pseudoscience. So this has to change before it's going to be taken seriously. And again, we're not out to, and I say we because I'm part of this. I'm a science communicator. We're not out to prove it doesn't exist. We'd love it. Most of the skeptics that I work with would love for something to happen, for the afterlife to be proven, to see an alien face to face, because I really want to drive a UFO. All this, you know, to go camping with Bigfoot, stuff like this. It's got to start with the people that are most interested in it, and you got to do it right. You got to start changing the way you do things, and listen to what we're giving you advice on, like all the stuff that we've talked about tonight. Take it to heart, and change your attitude and your outlook. Otherwise, like I said earlier, just enjoy it. You know, enjoy the amateur hobbyist kind of thing, and the entertainment value of it.
Yeah, the experience.
I
of
agree. I agree with what Kenny had to say there.
Spot on.
Exactly. Happy birthday, Jimmy. It's Jimmy's birthday. All right. Yeah, I agree. You know, and if we do come up with something that's out of the norm, then, you know, that's when you start to try to pick it apart. And
Right.
that's the beauty of it. And like I said, a lot of people, you know, they bash like the debunkers and all of that. I think that they're doing a service to the community. And then also you hear people saying, well, there should be regulations. How are you going to put regulations on something like this?
You gotta enforce that.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in charge of making up the rules?
Real quick with debunkers, they do a great job. They really do. But sometimes I really wish that they would, you know, get a hold of some of us investigators who have been to certain locations, so they can better understand how a location may be set up and things like that. Because I've seen some where I'm like, no, this is wrong.
Right.
No. And they won't bother to correct it. It's just, you know, whatever, I guess.
I will
Speak
say
out.
once in a while, like I've had interactions with Beardo from Beardo Get Scared, where I've watched his video, I've noticed something that was incorrect, and I've reached out to him and said, hey, you know, you said this, that's not correct. But I don't just leave it at that. I actually will send a recreation picture
Right.
or video and say, this is how it was done. This is how I think it was done on here. And he has corrected it. He has put a video out afterwards. And I
Right.
think we've done this like 3 times now
Right.
where he's corrected that.
Well, there was that one he did where he was claiming, oh, this is an overlay. And I'm like, this is not an overlay. I do believe that those individuals know exactly what it is, but it's not an overlay. But he's standing on that hill. The shape he did one on a location which I will not mention, and he's like, "Oh, all of a sudden, this door's here, but in this frame over here, this door wasn't there." I'm like, "No, you don't understand the layout. Like, that door is a completely different door than this other door you're pointing out. That this door goes into an attic. This door goes out to the foyer of the second floor where the stairs are." And there were other things that he had said in the video. It was his opinion, although some of the stuff he was saying came across as factual. But I'm like, no, I've been there. I've looked into this stuff. No. And heads up, by the way, because you just might. Anyways, but yeah, I've seen that happen a few times. And I do wish debunkers would come to some of us and see if we've been to these locations and get our input. Maybe we have footage that better shows the area, the surrounding.
Right.
But
I always look for like walkthrough videos of the area to try to get a better idea, and then I go right to my notepad and start sketching out a map. My experience at Dungeons and Dragons comes through, and I start mapping out the area. And I also reach out to the people that like made the video that I'm looking at, and say like, at this part, this timestamp, you went through this door. Is that the same door, or are you going down the hallway? What's going on here? Because it looks the same. If not, and I'll get their feedback. But yeah, if that comes up, I definitely suggest like reach out to somebody, like really get an idea, because it's so easy, especially in like big buildings like schools and jails and prisons, anything like that that's abandoned that people are going through. So many hallways and rooms look exactly the same.
Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
The first floor completely different than the second, third, and fourth. The fifth floor different, than the first floor, and so on. So you have 3 floors that are basically the same setup, same everything. And it's easy for people to think, well, they didn't go to the second floor. This just looks like the floor that they've been on, or whatever. And then I get when I go, I get confused. I'm like, wait, what floor am I on? Shit, they all look the same.
It's like getting lost in a large parking lot. Remember your number. So let's see. Creasa, do you wish people in the paranormal would stop saying they found evidence? She really hates that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, evidence is something that has gone through a process. I mean, you collect data. That's what you collect initially, and that data has to be analyzed and with considerations of the environment, the people involved, time of year, lots of things. So you actually don't have evidence. When you leave that location, you do not have evidence. You have data. And that data has to be analyzed before it can be presented as evidence. And you present evidence in support of a claim. That's why it's evidence. So if you make a claim that I captured a ghost, you need evidence to support that. So if you have a photo or a video and audio recording, that data now becomes your evidence in support of your claim.
But that also does not mean it's evidence, though, either.
Yeah, it is. Well, to them, it is. They're presenting it as evidence.
Right. But
it doesn't have to be true or false. It just has to be something that's in support of your claim. That's what
the REM pod went off when we asked the question.
Right.
And
that's evidence.
And again, just because somebody thinks it's evidence does not mean it's evidence. I mean, to them, sure. But
it could be bad evidence. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like, people throwing the word evidence out is like all of a sudden evidence is now subjective. That, well, this went off. This is my evidence. I think, and this is my evidence, or I believe that this is evidence. And it's like, it's not evidence, though. Yeah, your little toy went off, but that doesn't doesn't prove that a ghost did it. It's not evidence that a ghost set that device off. Now your evidence is based on belief.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a subjective interpretation because
Yes.
it's their belief which influences their opinion, which is why they're calling it evidence. And yeah, it could be bad evidence. It's evidence that is irrelevant, but it's still presented. And that's why we have to look at it. That's why we have to analyze data. That's why you can't just say, I'm a ghost hunter, therefore I have expertise in everything. And then that's the mentality that we see. I mean, how many times have we all come across ghost hunting teams that are audio experts, videographer experts, photography, biology professors, chemists, quantum physicists,
Yeah.
shit like that, because they give themselves a title.
Yeah.
And which wasn't earned. So that's why I constantly reach out to different people, because I don't have all this knowledge. And I mean, I can look it up. I can spend the day going through a certain field and start learning about it and try to Tony Stark my way through it overnight, become an expert, but I'm still not an expert. And I acknowledge that. So I will reach out to other people and say, look at this. Tell me what this is. You've been doing this for 20 years. You have training. You're a professional in this field. Please, Barney style it for me. Let me know what this is. And that's what you have to do. So yes, do I get upset when people keep saying, yeah, evidence? Fuck yeah, I do. Because I don't think they understand what that term means.
Right.
And another thing that does drive me nuts is when people say, well, there's no experts in the paranormal field. Okay, first off, be more specific when you throw that out there, because there are investigators out there who are experts in audio engineering, videography, and so many other things. And their input is absolutely important. They're the experts.
Right.
And to me, it's kind of insulting when people throw that out there. So I'm like, well, what about these other people? They are investigating the paranormal. However, they are an expert in insert whatever professional field that they are in, which is something that is used in paranormal, whether it be audio, video, an electrician, for Christ's sake.
Right.
And that, like, I can't stand when people say that, because it's like, be more clear about how you present that kind of thing. I get they're saying there's no expert paranormal investigators, but to me, that's an umbrella term for everybody, regardless of what their professions may be.
Right. Because I ask that usually mostly in investigations of large groups. I'll say, who has their specific role while you're on an investigation? Because each person will have their own special talent or education to handle certain equipment and situations on an investigation. And I've noticed that a lot of them don't have specific roles.
Or the roles are just assigned because, hey, we need a tech guy.
Right.
Oh, you're it.
Well, you can work the phone. You're the tech guy. Right. That's,
and like there have been several times where I've gone to conventions, like paranormal conventions, and gone up to groups and talked to them, and they're like, yeah, I'm the tech guy of the team. Okay, so what do you use this device for? And they don't know what it does. It's like, your role is title only. Like you actually don't qualify for that role, but you do it because that's the routine. That's the cookie cutter ghost hunting team.
Right.
Everyone
brings new meaning to role play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey now.
Ooh.
Now we're getting it.
Oh, and then earlier when you guys were talking, I was wanted to know if we were talking about Dawson without talking about Dawson. I love it when Kenny and Dawson go at it. I just do.
Goodness.
Oh God.
That boy.
Oh God.
That boy needs help. I love him.
He's got spirit. He's got the spirit.
Oh, he's got spirit, all right.
I love Dawson to death. I do love teasing him, but Dawson believes what he believes.
Yeah.
But at least at least he's trying to put some effort into figuring out what may be setting some of his things off, and at least he's got the balls to like buck up and be like, okay, well, if you're claiming this, then I'm going to do what I can to see if I can prove you're right or wrong. How many people do that?
He does a good job at that. I mean, he's after shows that we've been on, he's called me and we've talked for hours afterwards, just going through. He's like, hey, or the next day, he's like, hey, I looked this up and this says this. What does this mean? Or I saw this, and how does that relate to what we were talking about? And we have conversations, and it's really, I mean, you're right, Joe. He's trying, and I give him credit for that. He does have his beliefs, and I think he still sticks to a lot of his beliefs, but he's branching out, and he's trying to understand things better. So I give him credit for that. He also needs to come visit me because I'll show you. Right there is a skeleton that belongs to him. Way back there, next to my Ninja Turtle. But
yeah, I see
him. That belongs to him, and he purchased it. I picked it up for him, and it's been sitting here for, oh my God, 6-7 months now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He has not come. Actually, it's almost been longer than that, I think. But I mean,
you might have to remind him.
Fuck no, I'm keeping it. Looks great in the chair over
I always what am I saying is around here. If it's been here for 90 days, that's it. It's mine now.
I was gonna say I don't hear Kenny really complaining that it's there.
Right.
It's perfect. I put it in a rocking chair. It's perfect. It just fits in with the whole decor.
Beautiful.
Kenny's gonna miss it when it's gone.
I don't know, Dawson. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about it. Sorry. Yeah, Cree says Joe's right. Like Jason and plumbing, he finds things making sounds or smells because of his expertise in plumbing.
Right.
Exactly.
He's a good example because I used him. I used that bastard. I called him up when I did. We were talking about the Smurl case, and there was an incident early on in that case back in the 70s when they were renovating and they had issues with pipes, water pipes. And Jack Smurl's father was a welder. So they said, hey, he's a welder, so there should be no leaks. He's doing plumbing. There should be no problem. And I was like, I do welding, and that's different from plumbing.
Exactly.
It's definitely different. But I don't want people to take my word for it. So I called Jason up and said, hey, would you let me ask you this question first. And I did. And he's like, oh, no, totally different. Totally different. Gave me an explanation. I said, great. Would you let me film that? And he said, yeah. So that's great. I had him, an expert plumber with 25, 30 years experience, explaining this. And that's the way we should be doing it, like reaching out. And I mean, me and Jay are good friends, but we have different beliefs or non-beliefs. But we still get along great. And I have no problem reaching out to anyone like that and saying, hey, can you help me out? Likewise with him.
Yeah, Jason's a great guy. I talk to him from time to time, text or he called me a couple of days ago, but he's a great guy. And investigating with him at Harriman Hospital, and I know very little about plumbing. I know just enough, like unplug a fucking toilet or whatever. But
I just had to do plumbing last night. Flooded kitchen.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't too happy.
Oh, damn. But I learned quite a bit, because all of a sudden plumbing. Oh, look at this plumbing over here. And this this, that, the traps and, all this stuff. And I'm like, I could finally go on an investigation with Jason and we're talking about plumbing.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I was cooking dinner and this like big puddle of water showed up right in front of my sink, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" It's like... So yeah, it was the O-ring seal on the shutoff was shot. I had to shut everything down, take it all apart.
That sucks.
So yeah, I get to do all that fun stuff. Otherwise, okay, let's see here. Cree says, Joe, didn't you do a video about the REM pod not going off certain ways that other claims it does.
Yes, I did that video because somebody had claimed that lightning could set off a REM pod, and I got really lucky when I did that part of the video because I had no idea lightning was going to strike like 50, maybe 60 feet away from me while I had the REM pod outside because it was storming. So I got lucky with that. I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't set it off. Nothing will, I guess. The lightning, anyways. People claim their car keys, the key fob, like for their like alarms and stuff like that, could set it off. Another one
Didn't
was
you do an experiment like that, Kenny, with the key fobs?
So I did one with the ultrasonic sensor. I was making it go off with the keys. The REM pod, though, like for my experiments, I did two-way radios, and I was able to do that from like
that'll do that.
floors, like the floor below and above and through walls. I was able to do that, and then also I recently caught footage when the news crew was here. The sound guy I caught him about 10 feet away, and the wireless mic that he was using set it off. And it was great. Like he stood still, but then when he like did a movement like this, and the boom mic, which was not over me, it was actually like he was holding it this way, and he moved, REM pod goes off. And I was able to get my phone out real quick and take like a minute video before the producer was like, no. Oh, I got it, bitch.
Yeah.
How many different
Go ahead.
How many different places make REM pods?
I don't know.
I know Ghost Stop. There's a place in the UK. There's a lot of places that do make REM pods. You can now get them on Amazon.
Okay.
Well, you can make them by yourself. I've seen
Or you
that.
can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I'm getting to. When you're designing a circuit board, let's see. Actually, I have one right here. I can give it an example. When you design a circuit board, you have to be mindful of the traces, especially with anything that has to do with RF or anything like that. Yeah. You can create a circuit board that can create so much noise or receive so much noise. Mm-hmm. It can either interfere with something else or get interfered with something else. So people are saying that, oh, well, this will set off a REM pod. Well, maybe it sets off this REM pod, but not that one, because the circuit doesn't receive enough information or interference, or it doesn't resonate with it. Because a REM pod it's a toy theremin. Okay, so it creates its own field. So anything that can push, move, or interfere with that frequency of that field is picked up by another oscillating circuit, and it tells you the intensity of it. And that's all that is you have two oscillators working with each other, and they take anything, exactly like that. I mean, your hand can reflect RF energy, so it's picking up that reflection. But the circuits are not all built identical. They use different parts. The traces run different. And you have to take that into account. So while one REM pod will go off with a key fob, which is usually around 433 megahertz, something like that, another one may not. So you have to take that into consideration when you're talking about these toys.
Yeah, look at that.
And so wouldn't like the production of them, not just laying out the lines, but when you have to put these together, because the Junior Theremin comes as a kit. So when you put them together and you're soldering, if you're not good at what you're doing and the solder spills over, could that have an effect as well?
It would be more about where you would lay your wires or whatnot on the inside. Right. Electricity gets its word from its root word is electron. So an electron is a particle on the outside of an atom. So electricity is the movement of these electrons. Now, the reaction happens at pretty much the speed of light, but electrons moving themselves is just a very, very slow thing. But they interact with magnetic fields so much, that's where we get the electromagnetic field. Magnetism and electrons interacting so well, it creates another field of its own, basically. That's what the electromagnetic field is. So, yes, you can interfere with electronics, and if you'll look at old electronics, the FCC had to put a label on it, Part 15 of the FCC regulations. This device must receive whatever interference and it may cause interference with another one. If you look at old TVs and old tape recorders, they all had this warning
Oh,
because
yeah.
of phenomenon. So,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Why it's
some REM
important to
pods will go
control.
off, some of them won't.
Yeah.
What I find interesting, right?
Yeah, look at that. Water bottle.
right?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
well, it wasn't doing it before, but now it is. It wasn't going off. I couldn't get it off. Plastic.
Joe couldn't get it off.
I'm 47 years old, Jimmy. Can't, you know,
Don might want to run with that one.
you know, people like to complain. It doesn't last long enough. I'm complaining because now I feel like I'm getting a fucking workout.
Jimmy wants to know, well, what does REM stand for in REM pod?
Stand in the place. No, I'm kidding.
I know that's what I was going with. I forget what it's supposed to be. Yeah, I don't know what the REM is.
Oh, the clicking.
I know what it stands for in other videos, but for the REM pod itself, I don't know.
I used to know and I forgot.
Radiating electromagnetism.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it
So,
doesn't.
and we also have another question here from Silent Cow. Kenny, is there a difference between positive energy, negative energy reacting to the REM pod?
Oh boy. Hey Tim. So
Ha, ha, ha.
there's positive and negative poles, but there is not positive and negative energy. There are just not. Negative is not bad or good. Positive or negative. There's a flow, but we're talking about energy, not electricity. So, yeah, there is no such thing as good and bad energy. It's just different types of energy, not ghostly energy, but different types of like potential chemical radiation, stuff like that.
Quantum physics.
Putting Kenny
Quantum.
to the test. Cree wants to know, do you think if you were going to test equipment, you should test more than one model of that device? I've noticed that older models of some are not as sensitive and don't react like newer ones.
Yeah.
The problem is this shit's so expensive. That was like $200, that REM pod. Do you think I'm going to buy another REM pod? The only reason why I even bought that REM pod was to show, here's why I don't use REM pods.
Right. It's good when you can, and just like Joe said, like I get most of the equipment that I test as donations because I don't buy it. I don't want to support the people that are building it because
Right.
I don't. For the most part, I think a lot of them are just cookie cutters. So like the REM pod we know is a Junior Thurman, and everyone that builds them is using Junior Thurman. It's the same gadget. It's the same kit that they buy. But if they have new additions to it, new features, then yeah, you want to test that new feature because you don't know how to integrate it within the circuit of the Junior Thurman. So what if they screwed up? And it goes along the lines of what James was saying. But there's also production quality or a lack of production quality because you're dealing usually with basement or garage mechanics that they're that they're building stuff in their garage or their basement and they're selling it out of there. So a good example is the Epic box. So Silent Cal, Tim Vickers, I believe, purchased one, and he tested it, sent it to another colleague of ours, tested it, and then sent it to me. I took it apart and saw the components, was able to realize like it can't do what the manufacturer claims it can do. It just doesn't have the components to do it. But we also found that it has two lights, a green and a red light. We found that it was on a pattern. So every recording that we have, both Tim and then Dave sent me their recordings. I was able to predict exactly to the second when either light would go off because it was a set pattern.
Oh.
But
Pre-programmed.
other people had different boxes that, well, I mean, similar boxes, same device, didn't have a set pattern. So yeah, in that case, it was definitely worth testing another one to see what was going on. So that's always something to consider because you might just get a bad product. I mean, I think they're all bad, but this one had something wrong with it.
Right.
One of the things I did, because I do have the Spirit Talker app. Again, that's just something that I have because testing it and showing and stuff like that. I'll have the Spirit Talker running on one phone and another phone, and I can tell you when a name is going to pop up on the Spirit Talker running on two separate phones, and it's usually anywhere between the fourth word that pops up and the sixth word that pops up. You will get a name, and I have run this over and over and over.
Yeah, I've seen you do that.
Yeah, I do. I have a video where I'm like, okay, a name's going to come up, and then boom.
That's cool. That's good to know.
So it's running a cycle.
Those things that have any kind of computation, microcontrollers, computers, they're really bad at randomizing numbers, and that plays into the programming a little bit here.
Cool. All right, Cree's got another question. She says, Kenny, I get that it's a cost issue, but to say that because this model does something, if you do this or that, doesn't mean they all would react the same way. Maybe you could do a call out to people and ask.
So I have. I mean, it's not in all the devices that I've tested. I have not tested just one. Understand that. Like, I have the opportunity and the advantage of going out to other groups and using their equipment or doing the same test to those. So it's been multiple pieces, multiple models. So don't think that it's just one that I'm doing. It's every one that I come across, I will test. And over the years, that adds up to like 5, 10, 20, 30, and they all have similar results. So it's not based on just one, because one data point doesn't mean all of them are wrong.
Right.
Like I said, like the Epic box, that was our device that had a pattern, but the other ones that I was able to test did not.
All right. Crow says, I'm just glad that Joe had a REM pod handy because I couldn't remember what it looked like. Crow.
Freaking Crow.
Oh, man. You want me to show you again, Crow? Because I know it's been a really long time. Even though you've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube of people investigating the paranormal, I'm sure you haven't seen it at least 1,000 times.
He's been so quiet. I'm surprised he's still hanging out.
Crow has nothing better to do.
Right.
Watch and fantasize about Joe.
I was just going to say something similar. It's pretty hard to type and jerk off at the same time.
Ah, jeez.
Oh,
Definitely makes it messy.
you know, like as soon as Crow shows up, you know the whole ambiance of the show just
Right. It all goes into the shitter. So okay, guys, we are pretty much going to get ready to wrap this up. I would like a final question to you guys is, have we realized that spirits or entities or whatever you want to call them cannot leave behind an electrical trace of some sort, or that we can't detect it? Or are we still up in the air about this one?
I'd say to date, there is no valid scientific evidence that would suggest that there is a trace or residue or signature left behind. That's it.
I will
Pretty
have
much. I mean,
agree with Kenny.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. I was just saying I agree with Kenny because I just want to shut up because I've talked way too much.
I love how you say, I just want to shut up, and you keep talking.
Side-eye guys rubbed off. Sorry.
Fair enough.
Blame him.
That's good.
No, I was just going to point out. I mean, there's theories, but these theories really they don't hold up to any kind of scrutiny, and there's no tests that you can use to prove them, like stone tape theory, or the idea that events can be recorded on the environment. Okay, by what mechanism is it recorded, and how would the universe just play it back for a residual haunting? There's no explanation for the mechanism behind that. So it's assumption, it's theory, it's belief.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, pretty much bottom line, guys. It's just what you guys believe, and just continue with the experiments, which is very, very important. And like, Kenny says, never stop learning, always keep learning. And also, everybody knows where to find everybody here on the panel. So it's not like everybody's new to the group. I really appreciate you guys coming on. You've really cleared up a lot of questions that everybody had, and kind of straighten out some, things that people might have thought that were truth, and finding out that it's totally just not the truth. But until then, guys, everybody have a great night. I really appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Great questions. I love you guys all. You're great. And always remember, everybody, live life a little bit on the raw